I'm standing firm on my square.
Peace and power. I am Jamal Robinson, and we're back again for another installment of Higher Enlightenment. Make sure you get over to mastersofthecosmos.com, where this lecture, full lecture, will be available in either DVD format or digital format when you become a member of the Adepts. All right? So, without further ado, first and foremost, we need to thank Miss Moody, who is hosting us today here in the area that I like to call Shambhala or Shangri-La. A little bit of heaven on earth. We're out here in nature, all types of vegetation, greenery all around us. So the energy is high today. I'm excited for this opportunity. We've just come off of the summer solstice, and we are ready to move. For those of you all who understand about the power of the summer solstice, you know this is a high time of the year. Sirius is rising. We're going into the dog days of summer. So thought it was a great time to kick this off as we move into this period of the year with a high-powered lecture with some high-powered information. Also, thank you to the videographer, Mr. Doug Ross, who's taking his time to come out and capture this moment in history to make this thing happen. Thank you for taking the time to listen and watch this presentation. Your energy is very important. We're in a period in the human history, human collective, where the secrets are being revealed. And it's a beautiful time to be living, because if you want to know, you can and you will know. And that's where I want to start before I get into our actual topic. I want to look at the word familiarity. Familiarity, if we want to use this term devil loosely, familiarity is the devil. And when I say devil, I'm speaking in a connotative sense. Because those of us who study, we don't subscribe to this concept of there's a dedicated boogeyman somewhere sitting under the ground just waiting to get you. But connotatively, we're saying that familiarity is the devil because we're speaking of it in terms of hindrance. Our propensity to go towards what's familiar is what hinders us. If it's something that I'm accustomed to, if it's something that I'm comfortable with, something that I can easily identify with, it's familiar. And therefore it's not scary. Well, familiarity breeds stagnation. And whenever water, just using water as an example, whenever water is stagnant, water dies. Do you know that water can purify itself? Even when all of the pollutants that man dumps into water, water is very powerful because it accepts and it can cleanse itself by just moving. But when you take water and you make it sit and it can't move, it can't vibrate, it can't have waves, natural flow of waves go through it, it becomes stagnant and then it dies. Familiarity breeds stagnation. So a lot of times we don't want to entertain new things because we think, well, mama didn't do that, daddy didn't do that, and we got to get back to the old way. My grandmama didn't do that. One thing we got to understand about the human collective is that from the moment that creation occurred, we've been doing this. That's called devolution. Devolution. So sometimes the concept of familiarity, we're always trying to find somewhere on the arc where we can go back to, because we don't understand, though, that we've always been falling. What we have to do in order to get back on the upside, which is what is called evolution, this is devolution, down, evolution, up, is you have to go beyond what you think you know. You got to go beyond what you believe. You got to go beyond what you've been taught. Because what you have been taught really amounts to indoctrination. So, what we want to do today is go into the realm of the unfamiliar, the realm of the hidden. Our parents, our forefathers and mothers worked with what they had available to them at the particular time that they existed in the human time continuum. So, if all we have to do as fully functional adults is just go back and replay whatever they've done, then what's the point of adulthood? Adulthood, one of the key terms in adulthood is this. Discernment. What do you need discernment for if all you're going to do is just replay a script over and over? Discernment is where in the Bible it says, separate the wheat from the tare. That means the whole concept of judging. To judge something, that means you got to be aware of both sides. That's why in law you have the scales of justice, because you're weighing out both sides. That's called discernment. That's called judgment. The ability to weigh. So if all you got to do is just follow some script that's been laid out for you, then you are a perpetual child. True adulthood is when you develop the ability to weigh out things and make your own decision. So, yes, there are great things that our parents and our forebears taught us, and we should lean on those as a foundation. But they were only intrinsically serving as steps for us to build on top of. How can you build something on top of something when all you're trying to do is duplicate what's already there? You must go out of the familiar into the unfamiliar to pioneer and build new territory. And that's what we're going to do today. Our topic is, hold up, wait for it, sex, shit, and the stomach. Now what in the hell does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Sex, shit, and the stomach. And it's all biblical. Three gifts we have made available to us from the cosmos. Three gifts. I don't care what walk of life you come from. I don't care what your background is. I don't care what your status is in society. This supersedes all of that. These three gifts are available to any person who wants it. But first, let's do this. Let's tell you how the Bible lays out these gifts for you. Matthew 7:7 tells you what the cosmos has left for you. And you can see this is written in red. So who's speaking? We know, we've been raised in the church. When it's in red, that means Jesus or the Christ is speaking. All right. Matthew 7:7. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened for you. One more time. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. There is nothing that you can think of to ask that you cannot have available to you. There is nothing that you seek that you cannot find. So, here are the three things that the cosmos makes available for you. One, you all have the right to the question. I'm going to break all these down. Two, you have the right to the quest. Three, you have a right to the knowing or the knowledge. Or, in Greek, the gnosis. These things are made available to you regardless of who you are, where you come from, what your mama did, what your daddy did, what your background is, how much money you make. If you want it, these are available. Question. Most people live their lives not asking the right questions. Because most of us are running on a program. And when you're running on the program, who's going to stop to ask and inquire about, why didn't I go right instead of going left? Or why didn't I go up instead of going down? It's just, I'm Jamal. I'm supposed to do this and this. Robotic automatons. The first challenge is just to ask questions. Does it not say in the Bible you must come as a child to enter the kingdom? Well, what is that really telling you? When you were a child, what were you? You were inquisitive. You asked questions, and then things started happening in your life and you stopped asking questions. Somebody shut you down. Somebody told you it was stupid. Somebody made fun of you. You got ridiculed. You had disappointments and you stopped asking questions. So let's say if you get that part right and you go back and you revisit that child inside of you and you start asking questions. That's the first step. But that ain't enough. Because we got some people who ask questions, but they never do go any further. They never put any effort along with the question. The effort that goes with the question is called the quest. And you see it's still the root of the word question. The quest is the actual investigation into what the initial question or questions were. The quest is when you start doing the work. As Mr. Young Levan Zant says, you got to do the work. That's what the quest is. Now, the gift that comes out of being willing to do the quest or get on your quest, guess what the gift is? Knowledge. Regardless of what anybody tells you, the ultimate gift is to know. To understand. You see these legs on this easel here? These legs stand under this board. And if these legs ain't standing under this board cannot stand. Because this board can only stand if there is understanding. That's what your knowledge is. Gives you legs, support. What we're doing here, this is the true cycle of all existence. You must ask a question. You must go on a journey. In mythology, it's called the hero or the heroine's journey. And then there's the discovery that comes out of the journey. But guess what? Once you discover something, guess what happens again? A new set of questions come about. and the quest starts all over again. So as much as I think I have learned and I know, every day I find myself asking more and more questions, because that's the only way that I go and stretch myself beyond what is familiar and get into the unfamiliar so that I can grow. All right? So, let's get started. The Bible. The most popular and most sold piece of literature in world history is the Bible. And I dare say, oh, I still had it over there. And I dare say, probably the most misinterpreted, misunderstood piece of work in human history. No matter what I say today, nothing I say is the end all be all. Nothing anybody says is. Nothing, no interpretation is definitive in that it is, this is it. Brother Jamal has spoken. You can stop, shut down shop. It's over with. Take this to the bank. Because then you becoming just another fool. You're becoming a follower. Just like we're trying to take you out of being followers. You don't jump out of the frying pan into the skillet. So what should occur should be whenever someone gives you something, it should be verifiable. Through some sort of methodological approach combined with a childlike imagination. Now this is where true genius lies. What am I saying? If I'm telling you one, I need you to have method. Let's say this is the human brain. Okay? Now, this is the right hemisphere. You all know, you've all seen this. This is your little gray matter and everything. Okay, this is your left hemisphere. Simply put, the left hemisphere is linear. 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4. It's logic. The right brain is circular. This is your creative side. What I'm trying to tell you today is that in order to get the essence out of this book and any other book, is that you have to utilize both sides of your brain. We're in a heavy-handed society where it's got to be this or got to be that. It's got to be black or it's got to be white. It's got to be up or it's got to be down. It's about the merger of the two. That is where the true genius lies. You will have to utilize both sides of your brain to digest what all we're going to get into today. The stories in the Bible are masterfully composed. All right? They are not original, but they are still masterfully repurposed. They were designed to hide the magnificent underneath the mundane. Let me make sure I'm clear about what I mean by that. They hide the magnificent under the mundane. Think of the ground. Just let's say this is the ground. Okay? This is a layer of soil. Okay? And on ground you got vegetation. Okay? This is the surface. When we talk about the mundane, we're talking about what you can see on the surface. That's the mundane. The Bible puts mundane things on top to hide the true richness of the soil is down here where the roots are. Because the roots are getting the true nutrients deep down, but you can't see those. The roots would be what is the magnificent? Down here. When you read the Bible and you get stuck on the surface, this is what we call exoteric interpretation. Exo means out. Exoskeleton. Exuberant. When you see X, that means I go outside of myself. Okay. When we get to a deeper level, we are discovering the magnificent, which is the eso. Notice we got S in there. What word has ES in it? Let me erase this. What word has ES? Just so we can make it plain.
Easy.
Easy. Let me give you another one.
Essence.
Essence. When I was a little boy, my grandmother showed me how to really eat chicken. Dorothy Harrison would go to her house and she would eat chicken. And my grandmother would bite on the bone, crack the bone, and would suck the marrow out of it. And she said, now you're getting the essence. Of course, as a child, I'm thinking, now this is insane. Grandma, I love chicken, but I ain't finna be sucking no bone marrow out, no bones. But it always stuck with me because what we're looking to get is the essence out of Scripture. What we've been given for hundreds of years now is just the skin. Imagine if you only ate the skin off a chicken and you're missing all of the juices and the spices have settled down into the meat and it's marinated and it's all tender and you never experienced that. That's the equivalent of never getting into the esoteric understanding of Scripture. Now, the neophyte means, neo means new. The person who's young to higher knowledge will always be misled and distracted by the mundane, the surface. And the adept knows instead that there is more and thus pursues the hidden knowledge. Now, I want to say something that might sound crazy, somewhat controversial. The Bible and Christianity ain't got nothing in common.
Explain.
Christianity is a construct developed using the misinterpretation of the Bible and of ancient scriptures that come before there's a Bible. And this is just common sense. Tell me how many times you see the word Christian in the Bible. Tell me how many times you see the word Christianity in the Bible. That's a construct that was created. Nowhere do they talk about becoming a Christian. Christianity. That's a construct. The Bible is actually a code book. It's a treasure chest concealing jewels. Now, I'm going to tell you, and I've said this in other lectures, but with some stuff got to be revisited. If we pay attention to what it's telling us, it's all put out in plain sight. The Bible's broken up into two parts. Old Testament and New Testament. All you gotta do is break down words. Old, self-explanatory, but look at this. How many times have we ever been? Let me spell this out over here. How many times have our preachers or so-called leaders gotten up and really broken down words for us so that we can see what we're really talking about? Would you, as an electrician, just go and grab an electrician manual and start going through it without any training about how electrical circuits work and all of the intricate parts of being an electrician. No. But why is it we start using this Bible and memorize the scriptures and never really learn about what are the words actually saying in the book? How can I understand anything if I'm speaking to you in Chinese and all you know is English? How can we get any true interpretation of what I'm saying and you don't even know what I'm dong chao pang tao? You don't even know what I'm saying. That's the equivalent of you read a book and don't know what the words mean. This is where you get the essence. So the book is set up to tell you what it's really about. Old Testa, body. Menta, mind. New Testa, body. Menta, mind. The characters in the Bible are there to throw you off. And if you believe in the characters, then you get herded into the concept of being a Christian because you believe you're trying to be like Moses. And Moses actually went up on a mountain and he had some tablets and some lightning hit the tablets and these words got etched into them. You believe that Abraham and Sarah were almost 100 years old and conceived. You believe in the historicity of the book because this has never been taught to the average person. This is the secret of the book. It's about you. The book is about alchemy. This is where we get our accepted word called chemistry. Look at that. Chem. Chem comes from Chem, and that becomes Kemet. This is one of the original names of Egypt. Kemet, Kemet, and this means dark land or black land. What is this really talking about though? God. Alchemy is the process of becoming God. Going into the dark recesses of one's own being to become God. Going into one's old body and mind to become a new body and mind. Alchemy is about transformation. Alchemy is what goes on in this beautiful garden we got all behind us. Because this garden depends on shit. And if it ain't for shit, ain't nothing gonna grow. Shit is something funky, something decayed, something old, something decrepit that has fallen down first. It is the first ingredient that is needed for something to grow. That's why it starts off with Old Testamenta. Old, decayed, decrepit as us. Going through a transformation to become new, enlightened, illuminated us. Shit becomes what? Pretty ass, different array of vegetation out there. Cantaloupes, tomatoes, and persimmon, and whatever else. Greens. It's alchemy. That's what the book is based on. It's telling the person how to transform into their higher nature. Now, let me say this. When I first came into higher consciousness, I wanted nothing to do with the Bible. Nothing. Because I was reading the Afrocentric books and I was reading about how the Bible had been used to enslave black folk and Christianity was used as a tool of conquest and colonization, which is true. But what we have to realize is that there are steps. Life is if you allow yourself, you're constantly going up new steps, new levels. Now, a lot of people get stuck at that step. Oh, that Bible ain't nothing. It's white man's book and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And they get stuck. And they spend the rest of their days talking about these black folk going up in that church and them Christians and this and that. You giving all you praying to white Jesus and all this. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice that you gotten to that point. But you ain't even cracked the surface yet. Because when you study, when we shut our mouths and study, and come back to the Bible, study to show thyself approved. Peace ye be still. That means shut up. Stop talking so much and trying to let your ego tell people who are still in church that you ain't shit. This. Shut the fuck up. And you work on yourself. Because the book, everything, I don't care what book you get, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, the Quran, the Torah, whatever so-called holy book you want to get, they're all talking about one damn thing. You going through transformation. So if you're sitting around all the time beating up this person, that, because you think they ain't on your level, you ain't doing shit. Because you're not taking the time to do your work. So when you do your work and you start studying other texts and you start seeing them as a pieces of one puzzle, then your eyes open and then you regain a respect for this book. This is miraculous that I can go into this book and can explain things because I never read shit when I went to church. Never. Preacher get up, start preaching. We're going to turn to John. I have to go to the little table of contents and find where's John at. People be looking all at you. He don't study the Bible. And you feel all embarrassed. Well, guess what? They don't either, because they don't know what the hell none of the shit in the book means. They just memorize scriptures. That's called rote learning. That ain't learning. That's memorization. It was not until I stopped doing the rituals of Christianity and I started studying other things that I actually gained respect for this. Because he who knows one book knows none. It's not until you go outside this book and study the companion text that you can even have any knowledge of this book. You ain't doing nothing but repeating fairy tale stories. So, when I branched out, I started developing a respect and an appreciation. And I realized this is a book of magic. Oh, this is a powerful, powerful book. It can give you a story that can span billions of years. It can look into the future. It has magical incantations. It helps you reveal who you are, your place in the whole collective, where we are in the time collective or the spectrum of time, all in this little book. So, with that said, part of our title is Sex, Shit, and the Stomach. So why is it that we gotta deal with sex? And I encourage, if you're watching this, take notes, go back, rewind it, because we're gonna get into a lot. We'll have to lay the foundation.
See, Jamal, you asked us to go against something that's been traditional. And as you said earlier, we stay in the familiar, I'm comfortable with this, and now you're asking me to read this book and other books so I can understand. And I may not really want to understand because I'm comfortable with the familiar. Mm-hmm. And we're under the illusion that it's working for us.
Right.
So I have to struggle through fighting what my grandmother and all the church folks and what I was raised in Bible school and Sunday school to take it to this deeper level. that's frightening.
It is.
And I don't know nothing about.
It is. It is. And the only way to get over the fear is to get on your journey of study. Because everything I'm saying to you now at one point sounded like some crazy shit to me. I done been there because I was raised in you talking about generations and generations.
Mm-hmm.
But certain people incarnate at certain times for them to wake up. There's a great movie. There's a person that I was highly influenced by named Bobby Hemmett. And he was a person who always recommended books so you can go back and study for yourself. He used to recommend a movie called Dark City. And Dark City is about how these lifeless, inhumane characters are controlling these people in this city. And every night at 12 o'clock they come out and do this thing called the tuning. And they're underground and they're using these high-end technologies to go in and reconstruct people's realities. So these people don't even realize that they're living inside of the movie Dark City is just like the Matrix. They're living in an unreal, or like the Truman Show. Same thing. They're living in a world that they think is real, but it ain't. And somebody who has greater understanding is controlling them. And it keeps moving them around into these different lives. Like one day you're a millionaire, the other day you're working for the city, another day you might be a criminal. They're showing you reincarnation. How you come down here and you're living into this, you think this is reality. But we are actually living in death right now. We're actually dead. How? Because it ain't. This is all fake. How do you know? Because it ain't gonna last. What is the common denominator for all of us? We're gonna die. Mm-hmm. If this was real, it would be permanent. Real things last. Temporary things fade away.
But that's a part of the reality. We know we're gonna die.
No. That's reality that you've accepted. Because you've never been shown the other side.
Well, nobody knows the other side.
How do you know? Everything you think you know is about what somebody has told you what your capabilities are. They have told you in sociology, they have a concept called the theory of self-concept. We talked about this. Mm-hmm. You go in and tell a child, you dumbass, you can't learn nothing. Your mama retarded, your daddy retarded, all your whole family retarded. That child keeps hearing that enough, guess what? He gonna be retarded. My mother, 40-something plus year teacher, always had the worst little damn children that they could find because nobody else wanted them. And she would sing to them and clap and they learned how to read. She didn't even have no training. It was just all innate, intuitive, telling them how beautiful they are. You're smart. You can and being on their, that's back when you could whoop a child's ass at school. Staying on them. And guess what? A child will rise above what their supposed situation is if they know they are expected to. Take that model and bring it over here. If you've been told all your life about your limitations, you just so rich. And if it wasn't for the grace of God and this, that's all you've been taught. So that's the familiar. So when I come and tell you, you are God having a human experience, like you're going to get on up out of here with all that old devil mess. You're going to get us struck with lightning. You can't be questioning God. Well, another man told you that. Did God literally come down to you? You know how I really knew I was always messed up in the head? I'd be at church as a little boy, and them preachers get up there talking about, and the Lord came to me last night, and he said, David, you need, and I just sit there and wonder, why the fuck did I never get this shit come to me like this? Why don't nobody ever come talk to me like, what he got that he hears these voices that I don't hear?
You don't have a relationship with God.
Exactly. One preacher used to say, I have my ear to the head of God's chest. I said, God damn, that nigga's good. And when you say you got your head to the chest and your ear on God's bosom, who can argue with that? It's called game. You know how a pimp gets a girl to get out there? Girl, your dad ain't never loved you, but I love you. I'm going to take care of you. Come on, I'm going to show you the world. We're going to travel. We're going to stay in the finest hotels. All you got to do is stay down with daddy. And she ain't never known shit else. And she looking at him. He pulled up on her. He was in a Jaguar. And he knows she come out the damn projects and she ain't never seen shit. So he mac on her. Same thing happens with every other walk of life. We get macked on. Somebody sees our lack of knowledge of who the hell we really are, and they come and tell you who you are. And then all I got to do is say, God said it. Because I first have to accept that you are above me for you to tell me that God talks to you, for you to come tell me. Well, how about I cut out the fucking middleman?
So you don't believe God speaks to people?
Not in the manner that they say. I believe God speaks to everyone because God is them. So here's the key. If God is in you, I don't need nobody to convey a message to me for God, because I am God. So if I want to talk to God, I'm going to walk my black ass in there and shut up and be quiet, and I'll let God talk to me. The book is telling you that you are God trying to find yourself. That's what the whole point is. God, look, they tell you in Genesis, God moved on the face of the waters. That means you got to study it. Just like this. The beauty of studying other texts. Because if you study the Greek myths, there's a story of Narcissus. I know you know all about him, Miss Psychologist. Where we get the term narcissistic. Narcissus. Narcissus came and looked in and said, look, they told Narcissus' mama, they said, look, don't ever let him look at himself. Because if he looks at himself, he's fucked up. It's over for him. He looked at himself and fell in love with his own image and got pulled in. That's how he died. That's the story that they're telling you in Genesis. God hovered over the waters of the deep. Hovered. You got to use your imagination. Hovered, saw himself, said, oh, I'm God. I'm a jealous God. There will be none before me. But if you don't study the other books that they threw out of the Bible, you can't get the whole story. The story is that there ain't nothing that comes into existence that don't have a mother. That includes what you've been told is God. Don't nothing come from no masculine side. Everything comes out of, the plants come out of the dirt. That's mama. Sediment. Shit. Shit is a feminine component. Because shit is the natural, the integral ingredient for growth.
But males, crap. So why is it all just females?
Because we
sexist.
Because we all have a masculine and feminine in us. That is the feminine expression. Going to sleep at night is a feminine expression. Now, don't we all do it? Mm-hmm. Waking up in the morning, what they call it? I rose. That's masculine. A man has to rise up to engage a woman in sex. We both are playing out feminine and masculine roles. Mm-hmm. So that's where we at. You gotta stretch. It's about stretching yourself beyond what you've been given. Because Einstein said to do the same thing over and over and expect a different outcome is insanity. So, we talk all the time about, look at us. I just don't know about us. We're messed up. Oh. And then we go back and do the same stuff over and over. And we sit back and look at ourselves. Oh, we're so messed up. The whole world is, but if I come and tell you something that's completely outside of what is in the canonized, accepted group of things to do, we think it's crazy. Because that's the fear. A pimp always has to have a heavy hand. A good pimp gotta always have that woman knowing, I'll go upside your head if you ain't got my money. Fear is what keeps her. Fear and lack of knowledge of herself keeps her entrapped in his web of the pimp. Same thing with the religion and every other walk of life. I got to have that fear to keep you like, because I'm like, if you step outside this rug, I'm gonna put some fire to that ass. Lightning bolt gonna come down and hit you. You step outside that, step off that rug, I dare you. And you was like, and people out there are saying, come on, man, you done lived your whole life on that rug, come on. But if that, whatever's standing over you has convinced you, you better not move, you're gonna live your whole life on this rug. Miserable. Want to get out there and explore some stuff, but too scared. That's how we've been boxed in with the interpretation that has been given to us of this. We've never taken the time, and our lives are filled with turmoil, and we have questions and we have concerns that are never answered and they're never addressed, because all we do is go back and sing hymnals. Give me that old time religion, it's good enough for me. Leaning on the everlasting, all that. Mm-hmm. You feel good, you come out charged up. And then the same old shit. When you by yourself and there's nobody around to prop you up, you have those same empty feelings.
That's why we keep going back. That's why I go Sunday, I'll go Wednesday, get some more of this hive. Because Sunday, you got Monday, Tuesday, 2 days. I need to get some more, as I've heard say, food. On Wednesday, that gives me a high. Then I got a couple more days. You know, if that church door is open, I'm going to be in there.
Well, some people see Doritos as food.
I see chocolate chip cookies
as food. But if we really measure them out as far as the nutrients in them, they're nutriently devoid. See, what we got to do is we got to classify what's food and what's junk food. What's crack, cocaine, and what is really in-depth transformation of my inner child. See, are people going to hit a crack rock, or are they going to be transformed? Oh, they say they being transformed, but I guarantee you do a survey and ask 98.9% of people, what did he talk about today? I don't know, but the spirit was up in there today. Now tell me I'm lying. Don't know what the hell he said, because he ain't said shit. Say the same thing over and over. He got up with all power in his hands. I could do it. I'm telling you. I've studied them. That cadence, if you can sing just a little bit and can tell a good story, and you know how to preach to the itching ear, tell people what they want to hear. God wants you to have a breakthrough. He know all them people in there needing a breakthrough. All you got to do is preach to the itching ear.
But Jamal, you take that away from us. What else do we have? Because
it ain't for us. It's for a select few. It's only for the ones who can get it. Because you are the representative of the rest of them. It ain't never been about the collective. It's always been for a small few. It ain't about them. It's about you. It's about, can you get it? That's the secret. It's the journey. The book is talking about Old Testament, New Testament. It ain't about you going out to save nobody. It's about saving yourself.
But doesn't the Bible speak that you help your fellow man, you help the widows and the children and the orphans? Okay. We can go into that.
Man means mind. Helping your mind. Widow is you. What's a widow? Somebody whose husband died. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mary is a widow because her husband is not really with her, the actual father of her child. Because supposedly Joseph wasn't the daddy. And we accept that.
Baby daddy.
The widow is talking about, it goes back to a story, it goes back to ancient Africa, and it's in other parts of the globe too. We told the same story, but I'm going to use this one with Isis and Osiris. Osiris is killed by his brother Set, chopped into 14 pieces. Isis takes the children of the Nile and go out and find Osiris's different 13 of the 14 pieces, put him back together. That's where we get the Easter egg hunt from. She puts him back together, and his phallus is missing. She takes a piece of wood, inserts that as his phallus. You got to break down, what does wood mean? The word wood comes from what? Tree. And tree means truth. She put truth there, and she turned herself into a bird, flapped her wings, and he ejaculated. And from that came Horus, which is the forerunner of Christ. That's the original Immaculate Conception. So she was the widow. So she's talking about, she's the widow because she's the soul that is left that still has to go back and reconstitute the body of God. All of us are the widow. Your soul is the widow. And the soul is feminine. The feminine side is looking for her husband. All of us have a soul. And the husband is our higher enlightenment. When those two come back together, then Christ is realized. Everything is based on the Trinity. Triangle. People who control the world understand the power of the triangle. You have point A, point B. A and B naturally oppose each other because they're on opposite sides of the base of the triangle, right? Mm-hmm. Those two work together, and through them working together or opposing each other, that brings about C. This is what Christ is, C. So you've been taught that the Holy Trinity is a mother, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. It's the mother, Father. They come together to bring about Christ. But let me show you something crazy. This would also be Satan. And this would be, what we accept as God. Or in other words, this is dark and this is light. Those two have to come together. That is what brings about Christ. These two split up is called duality. Duality is what we're trying to overcome. Duality. Dua means two, right? Mm-hmm. Dual. Okay? Give you a little, let me give you a...
Father, Mother, Satan, and dark.
Because, okay. See, we're just going to let the Spirit work. I'm going off, F the notes. We're just going to turn this into a class. Because I see your questions are answers. I love it. This is what we need right here. Okay, I'm going to break down how does Satan correlate to a woman? You want me to show you? Yeah,
because it sounds sexy, but go ahead.
No, so you got to think outside of your constructs. We're beyond that shit. We on the God level. I'm going to show you what I mean. Satan is the highest principle. Okay? That's the greatest compliment. So if somebody tell me, Jamal, you the devil, that's the greatest shit you can tell me. I'm going to show you how. Let's break down words. Satan. You got two things going on here. You have sat and you have on. Okay. What's the favorite day of the week?
Saturday.
Saturday. Okay. Sat comes from set. You know what set means? Set means...
What I'm doing now.
Comes from this root, said. Said becomes sediment. What does it take for you to grow your garden out there? Dirt, sediment. Sediment means something that fell down. Now also from set, we get soot. From soot we get sit. From sit we get shit.
So when you know all of these words, is there some
Hell yeah! I told you I come with the ammunition.
You know,
I don't bull. I
you
come.
play
I
with
bring
words.
the.
I
I bring the funk. I bring the funk. I bring the
You know,
funk.
sad.
Look. We don't even need to even. We don't even need to even. We don't even need to even go down that road. I told you I'm bull. I don't bull jive. I bring it. Get this on the camera. Origins of English words. It's called etymology. Other book, Origins. A short etymological dictionary of modern English. So let's go on a little fact finding mission. Let's look up the word shit.
You know, the average person don't know
What-
this.
what-
And ain't interested.
We ain't worried about the average person. This is PhD course.
Okay.
When you went to you got 2 masters. When you're in your master's classes, you know the dumbasses who barely like to show up for class when you in undergrad. Them not the people that's gonna be your classmates when you go for your masters. These are all the top dogs. All your people who are 3.5 GPAs and higher, them are the ones who normally go to for their masters and PhD. We ain't even concerned with the rugrats. This is PhD level.
Okay.
So
But you got PhD, you gonna have a problem selling this on.
I ain't trying to sell it. That's the
You
key.
saying you telling it we got God. I'm having a problem conceptualizing I'm God.
Well.
If I'm God, then I can lose this weight and I won't need you to train.
Well, you don't need me. You don't. It's not about needing me. It's about I am an information broker. I am not no safety, no pacifier that you need. I'm an information broker. I'm a teacher. You don't still need your first grade teacher, but she gave you a foundation. If I was worried about people not using me, I would have more money now because I'd be pimping people I train and I wouldn't tell them shit. I wouldn't tell them how they could damn design their own meal plan. I wouldn't tell them, well, why are we working this muscle? I'm a natural teacher. This training is something that I do just to express my desire to teach. That's something you all appreciate. You ain't gonna never find another trainer who approaches what I do the way I do. I teach in every aspect of whatever I'm involved in. I got to show you what's my method behind my madness. The average trainer don't know shit. They don't even know why you want to train your upper body and your lower body on the same day. We're gonna get a higher metabolic effect, or why we need to do if your shoulders got limited range of motion. Why we need to work on the rear part of your body. They don't know. They just know, oh, you're going to do a shoulder press and we're going to have you go over here. Because they're not analytical people. We're talking about not you having, see that I don't think of God as an egotistical expression like, if I don't like that sucker, I'll point my finger and lightning to come out and he'll turn into dust. This is not about that. Being God is not about nothing that you can do to anybody else or you controlling. It is about you mastering yourself. That is the true expression of what your inner divinity is you mastering yourself.
Okay.
Teachers are put here only to inspire you. We met up somewhere else. This ain't our first time meeting. We come back, and if you think we just run into each other in this life for just as happenstance, I was supposed to run into you at this particular time for us to have this exchange. Because we're playing out roles.
Well, you better get me down to look like Beyonce.
No, you're going to get yourself down.
That's what you got, you know.
But we ain't going to get off of you. See, get me all off.
I'm on that surface level. You want me to
Shit.
go deep.
You wanted me to justify shit. Okay, this is how you use this book. This particular one, the words you want to find is in the back. So if I'm looking up shit, where am I? Oh. I go and I find shit in here. Okay. And it'll have beside it, it'll have what the root that it comes from. The root is this etymological root. That means it's mama. And etymology means the same thing. You know, we was talking about essence. Etymology means literally essence. You're finding the essence of the word. So shit comes from the root sek, 2, S-E-K, in Roman numeral 2. So then we go up to the front of the book and we find that actual root. So I'll look up sek 2. Now, I told you it's not being sexist or it's been a slight when I say that shit is feminine. We all, when I'm talking about feminine, I'm not talking about man and woman. I'm talking about the feminine aspect of all of us.
Okay.
That is what has to be exalted. The feminine aspect of us all. Okay? And so when I go back to the root, sec 1, it means cut, split, divide, part, drop off. Drop off. Now, do you know another word that comes from the same root as shit? This is why you have to know the root of words.
There need to be a course
It sure does.
designed for the psychology of words, or the methodology of words.
No, it's
the science of words.
You can get it right now. It's simple. It's simple. It's all just if you just want it. Look, science. The word science comes from the same root as shit. Science, conscious, scientific. Here's another one. To know. To know, so this is why they had to develop a character, a designated evil character called Satan. You had to develop this character because you had to deter people from wanting to know. Do you know the word propaganda itself was invented by the Roman Catholic Church? They invented the word propaganda to deter people from having knowledge or gnosis. They created this whole concept of burning witches at the stake. The Catholic Church is based on an hatred, secret worship of the feminine aspect, but an outward hatred of it. That's why they take the vow of chastity, because they hate, and it proliferates into the physical realm where they actually hate physical women. Love the boys, we all know about that.
Praise God.
So when we talk about Satan, just the sad part of it comes to shit. Because Satan is the one who fell down, did he not? He's shit. And that's just dealing with the sad part. Now look at on. Now when you're studying language and linguistics, from a phonetic standpoint, if it sounds alike, because they have a common origin. So on, what does that sound like? Throw something at you.
On.
Didn't he come before Jesus? John the Baptist. John said, I must decrease, listen to what he's the language, so that he may increase. John is the same as Satan. On, literally the prefix or suffix on, whether it's a suffix or prefix, it means first. Also, sat also means essence. I can back it all up. Etymology. So etymology itself is satanic. Because look, the word itself means essence. And to verify that, I have to go and do the etymon of the word, which etymology itself means essence. Do you understand how the psychology was laid down? To have knowledge itself was coined by the Roman Catholic Church to be evil. Then we even got to go and look at the word evil, but that's for a whole nother conversation. So let's put the two together. Essence, science, knowledge, first. Satan is the first knowledge. The first knowledge is what is laid down. Now let me show you something else. What did Moses go up on? Wait a minute, hold up. Where did Moses go to get the law, first of all? Where did he go? He went up on a mountain called Sinai. Hold up now. God damn it.
He got it from God spoke to him. He told him to
PhD.
write tablets.
PhD.
Okay.
PhD.
I'm in the wrong place.
Undergrad is over. He went up on Mount Sinai. Sin. And the law, the word law, means to set down. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Sit down.
Uh-oh. We got a problem here. Uh-oh. He went, if it's set down, and Satan means set, he went up and got the essence. That was satanic. So you got to go outside of your programming.
And it's hard to do.
Listen to the logic. You're a logical person. I'm giving you pure logic. This ain't no hugaloo or whatever, some hodgepodge. This is true scholarship. I'm going in and breaking down words. I ain't giving you no, and on the third day. No, I'm giving you hardcore scholarship. I can back up. The law, Satan is the law, because Satan is the first knowledge. And the law came down in how many books? How many books, Miss Moody, make up the law? The law came down in 5 books. Now, if you study outside of the Bible, you'll know that there's a story. Damn, I wish I would have brought the book. You'll find this in the Gnostic scriptures, Bentley Layton's Gnostic scriptures. And it's in other ones, Barnstone Bible, it's in the other Bible. Several places you'll find this. There's a story in the Bible. It talks about how in Isaiah it says, "I am a jealous God, and you will have no gods before me." Right? Mm-hmm. That story is clipped. That's the reason they threw out a whole bunch of books at the Council of Nicaea and those other ecumenical councils. Because there's a book in there. I don't know if it comes out of, I can't remember the exact book, if it's the Gospel according to Adam, or if it's the Book of Philip, one of those, where his mother speaks up. In the Gnostic scriptures, Jehovah from the Bible has the name Aldabaoth. And Aldabaoth has a mother, and she says, "Hold on, Aldabaoth, you lying. There is one who came before you." She's saying, "I'm before you. What you talking about? You are, and there are no other gods." You know, but the name Aldabaoth means blind God. So what it's really telling you is that the story, and you should appreciate this as a psychologist, the story, all these stories is about a huge psychological drama where a mind kept on fracturing and fracturing and fracturing. It's the original story of schizophrenia, because he represents the ego. The ego assumes itself to be complete, whole, and in control, supreme. But the mind, the overall mind that superseded it said, "Hold on, no, you're lying." But when from that, he started to create. Because remember, we go back to the Bible, he hovered over the waters and he looked at himself. That's narcissist. He said, "Oh," and then he separated the upper firmament from the lower firmament. That's sex. He went in and started creation right then. He impregnated the primal waters, which was feminine. Okay? So what happened was, he created man into, and this is, I understand this is mythology. I'm not saying this is actually, but you got to take the story and I'm going to break down what it really means. He formed man and woman, but they were not animated. So the story says that he could not figure out how to animate them. So his mother was full of sorrow because this egotistical aspect of the psyche had come down and had tried to create its own version of creation. It was not meant to do that. So she knew she had to do something. So she blew her essence into him so that he could blow. And that's what the Bible picks back up. God blows into the nostrils of Adam, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that's not the whole story. She had pulled down what's called the 5 luminaries. When they give you a number, it's not by happenstance. 5. Why 5? Now, when you go, this is why you got to study other things. When you study the Egyptian mythology, that's what we have called the 5 epigomenal deities. Epigomenal means that which is left over. Ain't that what shit is? That which is left over. Mm-hmm. See how I'm putting it all together for you. They all came down. Shit. The law means set down. 5 books. They're giving you a code. They're telling you. And you get the other piece from the Gnostics that tell you 5 luminaries. Came down. Shit. Egypt. 5 epigomenal deities. Came down. Shit. Satan fell down. Shit. Yeah. PhD. I told you. I told you. I can back it all up. That is what we got to get to, that level of understanding. And this represents, let me really bake your noodle. This is what all this really amounts to. What you've been taught, you've been told that you got to save your soul. But in reality, you've been directed to hate your own soul, because Satan represents your soul. Your soul is the first version of shit, because it fell down into a human body.
So how do you equate that with what's going on today? You know, I'm looking at soul, and then I thought of Zukov, and some of the issues that we have with our soul.
The main issue we have is that we're not aware of it. And we think that we're doing things that align with the soul, and we ain't even getting to the soul. Most of the things that we're doing is on the, remember I talked about the mundane versus the magnificent. Mm-hmm. The soul is the magnificent. We ain't even dealing with that. We spend too much time dealing with the mundane. You ain't even getting to the soul.
Don't you think that's done by design?
Of course it is.
Okay.
So the thing is, what we're doing right, this whole thing in here, this is our way of spiritual warfare. This is the true spiritual warfare. To know yourself and master yourself is the ultimate spiritual warfare. Not to constantly participate in rituals that don't do nothing for you. You don't never learn nothing. You don't never. Does this shit sound crazy to you? Mm-hmm. Some of it? Mm-hmm. Does this sound outside of the box?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Well, damn it, that's what you need. Because if it's the truth, it should. I done been to church. Now we're talking about conviction. Convicting something means to grab it. The truth, when you encounter the truth, you'll know, because it will really grab you. And it'll make you feel a little confused. It'll make you feel maybe a little defensive. Maybe a little angry. Maybe a little sad.
What do you think this is? That's what this is.
That's what I'm telling you.
Uh-huh.
You should feel disturbed with what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You should not hear truth and it's like, oh yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah, I know all that. It should make you feel like this nigga might be crazy.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's medication.
I done left a fucking madman up in my house.
Sure enough. Oh, Jesus. I'm going to have to get some sage in this house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I might bring you some, because I love, you need to burn some sage. But you know that's considered witchcraft now. Mm-hmm. Now be careful with that.
Devil's all up in this house.
Mm-hmm.
My mother would roll over in her grave.
Ooh, let's talk about the devil. You want to talk about the devil?
Roll over in her grave, let this devil in this house.
Can I erase this?
No wonder I can't sit on no houses. Go ahead. Yeah.
Let's talk about the devil. Because that's another name synonymous with Satan. is the devil. Let's just go on and put this.
Yeah, what is the devil?
Put this
You
shit
know,
on
is
the
he the
bed.
man with the two horns and the pitchfork? He roaming through this world, trying to steal and kill.
Yeah, all that.
Uh-huh.
All that, huh? But we got a God who sees everything, knows everything.
Uh-huh.
And you created this motherfucker and you didn't know that he was going to come and do all this. So that's why we suspend our common sense. It don't add up to an omnipotent God.
I think there's people who question it, but they're afraid
Exactly.
to answer.
Well, they ain't
'Cause I
afraid to
know-
answer. They're afraid to ask.
Ask. Yeah, because I know when I was much younger, I used to ask these questions.
My mama too.
It used to look at me, and I remember an old sister at church, they got me, I was about 13 years old, and I told them I believed in abortion. Oh, they got around me because the devil was in me. They called my mama.
Some of them motherfuckers should have been aborted. Shit.
And I never will forget that. They wanted to put me out of the choir. I'm 13.
Oh, what did I tell you about? What did I tell you about Crossroads?
Uh-huh.
What does 13 add up to?
4. How is that possible? 13 equals 4.
1 and 3.
Okay.
Do
Gotcha.
you will I get my butt whooped if I share your age now?
Yeah, you gonna get killed.
Okay, all right. Well,
I'm getting my gun out.
Okay, I ain't gonna say.
Get my-
'Cause I don't want you pulling no damn guns out
I'm
on me.
getting
'Cause
my
shit,
Glock out.
it's not my time to go yet.
I don't-
Okay, look, devil. This is called an anagram. So you got on in there again. Gram means scratch. First word. So to get to the original meaning or first meaning, anagram, that means you descramble these. Look at this. What do you see?
D-E.
Lived.
Lived. Devil lived.
Evil.
Evil.
Live.
Evil lives. Evil lives.
No, that's what this word reversed is this.
Okay.
So, in the Bible, we always want to go back to scripture. Okay? Revelations 13 and 8, I believe. All who dwell on the earth will worship him. Everyone whose name has not been written from the foundation of the world in the book of life of the Lamb who has been slain. Now, if the Lamb was slain at the foundation of the earth, first of all, we know the Lamb is Christ. That means there could never have been an actual Christ who walked the earth, because the Lamb was slain at the foundation of the earth. Well, we also learned that Satan was cast down at the foundation of the earth, because Satan and Christ are the same thing. That's what it's telling you. Also, if the Lamb was slain at the foundation of the earth, then am I stretching to deduce that the Lamb had to have already lived somewhere else? How can you be slain at the foundation unless you already existed? This is logic. This is the Lamb. Christ and the devil, one and the same.
Oh, come on, Jamal. How is
Listen,
Christ and the devil the same?
okay? Listen to what I just told you.
Okay.
I said the Lamb. I didn't say it. The scripture said it. Revelations 13 and 8. The Lamb was slain at the foundation of the earth. Foundation means beginning. If the Lamb is slain when the earth is first formed, then that means the Lamb pre-existed the earth. But when they are talking in here, they're actually referring to Satan. But they say the Lamb. In Revelations 22, let me give you a little more. Let me Let me hit you with a little more.
I never did understand Revelation.
In Revelations 20, you're going to understand it now. Revelations 22 and 16 and Isaiah 14 and 12. Lucifer in Isaiah 14 and 12 is referred to as the morning star. Revelations 22 and 16.
Is Lucifer the devil?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Satan, devil, they all interchangeable. Okay? Listen to this. Revelations 22 and 16. I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify to you these things for the churches. I am the root and the descendant of David, the bright and morning star. That's Jesus talking. Isaiah 14 and 12. And how you have fallen from heaven, star of the morning, son of the dawn, referring to Lucifer. Lucifer, the devil, Satan, and Christ are the same. You got to study to get you study, you'll figure it out. It's all up in the book. That's what's crazy. What we've been given is an interpretation based on a doctrine. And that doctrine has to indoctrinate the people to never really know, but to blindly follow. Because when you actually know, you overcome the duality that you've been presented. You've been presented this idea that God and Satan, or God and Christ, are separated from Satan. They are one and the same. They're just polarities. And when those two come together, it's just like when you make an atomic bomb. Two atoms come and smash together. That's Christ. It's the explosion of potential that comes out of two poles coming together. When a man and a woman come together, they're two opposites. He acts on, she's acted upon. When those two come together, that is what brings about a baby. Two polar opposites are overcome to become as one. It's all logic. Okay.
How's the stomach? We ain't got on the stomach. How does that fit into all of this?
Okay.
We ain't got on sex.
Okay.
Unless you said a man and a woman and he eats a baby. That's
Well, let's move. Okay.
I can see shit.
Let's see this. Let me go to this board over here.
I can see that too.
Let me put it all together for you.
That's pretty good drawing.
Yeah, I used to be able to draw. The whole Bible starts off about this. A fruit. Apple. Okay? All right, from here, okay, these are your
Large intestines.
these are your small This is your stomach. Okay. And this is where we start to take off a little bit. Okay. First of all, why is the conversation about sex so important? It's necessary for us to overcome our juvenile outlook on the former. In doing so, we define sex properly, dissociating from the Darwinian ideal that many still have. The Darwinian idea is that people cohabitate because of an innate desire to populate or survive. So he pushes the idea that sex is an animalistic ritual that occurs. When you study the scripture in Genesis and you look at the verbiage, you can see that same idea coming through. Because Jehovah or Aldabaoth is upset with them because they eat from the apple from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. He says they will know. Let's just go to it. Genesis chapter 3, and we get into the stomach because all these tie in together. Genesis chapter 3. This is after they've eaten. It says in chapter 3, verse 7. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together. They heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. Then the Lord God called the man and said to him, "Where are you?" He said, "I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself." And he said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you not to eat?" The man said, "The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me from the tree, and I ate." Okay, now, the problem is they knew that they were naked. So first we got to deal with what naked means. I'll break this down in other lectures, but we're just going to do this quick. Naked basically means subtle. Now, to understand the significance of this, you have to study other stuff. In Hinduism, you have the concept of prana. And prana is another name for the breath. And the breath in Hinduism is called subtle energy. So what does subtle energy really amount to? Didn't we say already that the mother took her breath and blew into Aldabaoth? And Aldabaoth then blew it into man? So what happened was Adam and Eve were actually higher than the God who created them, because they had received the essence from the mother. What he was bothered with, when they knew they were naked, what the story is saying, they were aware of their subtle energy. They were aware that they were higher than him. It all starts, you can't just read scripture and just read the words and say, naked. There was two little boy and girl running around with little fig leaves. So that's the programming. You don't stop to question every word. Naked means subtle. Subtle referring to subtle energy. That's what it's saying. So the problem was they knew, right? That was the number one problem, because they ate from a tree called the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So if it's a knowledge of both sides, I mean, they had the ability to what? Discern. Remember, we started out talking about what does judgment mean? What does discernment mean? It means you have the ability to weigh out both sides so that they can administer the law. And the law is that which is set down, which is Satan. All comes back together, full circle. So, but listen to how this thing contradicts itself. You move on to chapter 4. God has kind of gotten over his anger, and it says, now the man had relations with his wife, and she conceived and gave birth to man. Now, this is how they play games. They take this one and I don't want to tell you the word. That's why you got to get you other translations. This is a good one. Young's Literal Translation. You don't ever want to just have one Bible, because they go in and change the words so to obscure what conversations like this where you can figure out, wait a minute. So let's go and look at how they word Genesis in here. Genesis. And the man knew Eve, and she conceiveth and beareth Cain, and saith, I have gotten a man by Jehovah. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. What started all this fall of man is because they ate from an apple and they knew. But everything was taboo. But it was okay when we get to chapter 4 for him to know her. Okay, let me break down what I'm saying. This is where the sex comes in. Sex is okay as long as you just do it as an animal and it's just a means of procreation. But when you have knowledge of what are the actual components involved, sex is just not relations between a man and a woman physically. Sex goes on in your mind when you can be aware that you have two sides. Remember we talked about what genius is? You have left brain and right. When those two can come together and merge and cross and work together, you're having mental sex. That is what was the problem in the book. It's okay to have the physical lower nature aspect, but it is not okay to have mental knowing. Now, it was related to them eating from the apple. Okay? Now look how this ties into sex. In this model, this man eating, his mouth is the feminine aspect because the mouth receives. The actual food is what is input. This is the masculine. In all convergence of energy, the masculine has to be destroyed. When you eat something, you destroy it. The only way to get the essence out of this apple is to eat it. I can have all types of little fruits. All the vegetables and the fruits you got out there, they all look gorgeous, but they ain't shit until I eat them. It's just something to look at. I don't get the nutrients from them until I actually destroy them. That's what eating is. Eating is murder. You're murdering the food. But when I do that, through the feminine aspect of inserting the male into the feminine, it destroys it so that I can start to digest it. And when I digest it, I start getting the essence out of the doggone fruit. Only until it gets destroyed can I get the essence. Which leads us to the stomach. But first, do you see the correlation between the two? Okay. The stomach here, this is why you got to study words and what they mean. Let me get this on camera. Because this is one of the most valuable books you can have in your collection. It's the Strong's Concordance. A must-have. Because every word that appears in the Bible, you can look it up in this book. And you can get, if it's coming out of the Old Testament, you can get Hebrew. In some cases, you might find Aramaic transliteration. And if it's in the New Testament, you can find the Greek. And you can get to a deeper essence of what is being conveyed in this book, and in the Bible. And let me tell you what I found.
That's like a dictionary for the Bible.
Yeah, and so to speak, and you know, almost like it's almost like an etymological resource. Kind of dictionary / etymology, because it's transliterating what these words are. Okay. When I looked up the word God, and this is for my members on the website, this is why I kept saying this document I created. This document I created called the 72 Wise Words, A Guide to Decoding Biblical Scripture. Remember I told you about this, Ellen?
Uh-huh.
This is why this is so valuable. Let me show you one of the entries I got. Basically, I went through the Strong's Concordance and I put 72 words. I broke them down using the Strong's Concordance. When we look at God, one of the renderings of the word God in Greek is stomachos.
Stomachos. Okay.
Now just use your imagination for a second. What does that sound like? Stomachos.
Stomachos. Sound like a disease.
Stomachos.
I got you, stomachos. A deadly disease.
Let's just look at it. Let's look at it spelled out. Stoma. Let's just do this. What I got? Stomach.
Okay.
This is another one transliteration of the word God. Stomachos. Okay? Another one is stoma. Stoma means mouth. God is actually feminine because we are connected that the mouth is a feminine receptive tool. It takes in and it starts the process of digestion. And the mouth is preparing what is being taken in to go down into the stomach, which is another organ or an organ of reception. Okay? So, we're going to put this all together. Tie it in, tie it in. The metabolic process is essential to maintaining a healthy existence. The metabolic process is also referred to as a model for the alchemical transformation we must all eventually go through. Alchemy is the highest calling. It's the act of becoming. So, when we take in our food, and that food is metabolized, it's broken down, that means in this state right here, we started off, we talked about Old Testament, New Testament. Well, this would be the Old Testament right here. The food. Okay? The alchemy is the food being eaten, goes in, it's broken down, okay? And then it goes through the process of digestion. Now, once it gets into the stomach, then over into, you know, your small and then your large intestines. It's then eventually going to exit through the anus on first, okay? And then it's going to exit as excrement. Shit. And then that shit is now going to go and be utilized to fertilize new ground to grow something new, which would be the New Testament. Also, another way to look at it is that when this old body here takes in this fruit, the transformation of the metabolism of the food, the nutrients that come out into the body helps to form a new body, new mind. So there's your correlation there. Understand that the Bible is, among other things, a precisely written code book of veiled mysteries. Okay? The biological process of human egg fertilization is expressed in this particular passage we're going to look at. The usage of physical coitus as means of achieving high spiritual realities. An intricate breakdown of the metabolism of food and removal of waste as they relate to alchemy. Also a historical/mystical reference to the development of world civilization. Now, what we actually want to do is we're going to get into Genesis chapter 38. That's our actual text we're going to build off of.
Because I look at it, I watched my mother die. And I always wondered, did she go to heaven? Because when she died, the whole room took on a different aura. My mother started speaking, and she was speech impaired. So, you start thinking, and then the nurse saying, well, she's seeing her loved one. And then, you think, he's at a better place. I heard it every time I go to a funeral. If Mr. So-and-so was here, he would say, don't weep for me, because I'm in a better place. So, nobody goes to hell. Unless you maybe, Charles Manson will probably go to hell.
Well.
And, but then again, the Bible speaks of, if you ask God for forgiveness, if I was sitting here about to die, and y'all were hospice, and y'all, then y'all got prepared that in a minute now I'm about to go. And if I say under my breath that God forgive me for all of my sins, accept me as your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, that means that I'm going to heaven.
Well,
I'm forgiven.
Yeah. It all comes back to language. Everything was left for us in language if we just want to find out.
But
hold on.
This is real. This is what we believe in.
Well, I'm not even really. I guess I'm past the point of what there's no we. That's I'm only dealing with I. What am I able to know? The whole concept of we and belief is for those who are still in that. This is only for those who want to know something deeper than the beliefs.
But I want to know, but yet this is far from me to swallow.
Let me give you something real simple and quick.
It's almost like I'd rather stay ignorant than know. It's familiar.
Well, that's exactly why people go to hell.
Lord, I'm going to hell, Doug.
Hell?
Oh, I'm going to hell. No, Lord.
No, listen. You're already there.
No, this is heaven. Look at all this greenery around here.
And
Peace, birds, squirrels.
This is you have a nice picturesque illusion, but the illusion is hell. I want to break down some words for you. We're just going to look. Look at these words. Goal. All your life you've been told you need to set goals.
Right.
All right. Goal becomes this. That's where it comes from.
Gail.
Yep.
I got a friend named Gail.
Gail transliterates into this. Jail. Jail is synonymous with cell. Why do you think they call it jail cell? And cell, wait a minute now. Ain't your body composed of cells? Cell coincides with hell. Listen to the phonetics. Gold becomes gale, jail, sail, hail. You're already in hell. Satan was cast out of heaven, which is the mind, into a pit called Sheol. Sheol or Sheol becomes Sheol. Look at this: gale, jail, sail, hail, shell. Your sail has light trapped inside of it. That light that's trapped inside of the sail is called Lucifer. Lucifer means light bringer. Satan is your soul. Soul means sun. Sun is synonymous with light. The light is trapped inside of sails. Your body is hell. It is the pit. I don't care how beautiful this can be. This is all that we can register. But this is really hell. Because this is where you come. Hell, another purpose of hell is a school. It is a school for you to go and labor, to learn. And laboring also denotes suffering. You suffer in hell. Feelings, these different, having to get up and go and work, or go and labor for money, and to have a bowel movement, that's suffering. To fall and hurt your ankle, or deal with assholes. Everything is about suffering here, because you're in a school. You're also in what they say a prison is supposed to be for? Rehabilitation. So the ultimate model for rehabilitation is life. This is the prison. This is the ultimate model for every prison, is based on your actual life. You're in jail. Because you are more than this body that you've taken on. You are light trapped inside of cells.
So I just might as well go on and take that 38 and blow my brains out.
Well, if you want to do a cop-out, then you do that, and you'll just get snatched back down here, and you might be up on the I-35 in Dallas begging for quarters.
Okay.
So your job is, when you come, it's just like, okay, the person that we look at, you got to use things you can relate to. If the person who was in school with you, you always had the person who never wanted to focus and who dropped out. And you see, because how their life went, because they dropped out of school. And they didn't have the the drive to see it through. To me, that's the equivalent of that mindset of, I might as well just blow my brains out. Okay, you're going to have to face it either way. You're going to have to face and go through the fire. The fire is coming back to this earth to have to live through damn remedial school. Okay, go and flunk now. You're going to have to come back and repeat 3rd grade, 4th grade. So the actual goal, or let's not use the word goal, the actual ultimate vision is for you to learn and grow while you are here. Not to try to get out of it and cop out. You can't get out of becoming who you're supposed to be. There's no way around it. Even the crackhead is in a state of becoming. Now, he might have to come back here 25 more times or whatever, but you are going to have to become God one way or another. We can jack off during this lifetime and have to come back down here and deal with this bullshit, or we can go on and bear it out while we're here and get on the path of becoming who you're supposed to be. Or you can just sit and just lullaby your way through. This is hell. Make no bones about it. This is hell. And you're going to come back to this until you get what you were supposed to get out of it. The word life means anointing. And until people come and their focus is to gain that level of it, then just come back here and just come back and keep kicking rocks.
And there's going to be a small percentage of people that do it.
Ella, everybody has to become. God is everywhere. Everything has to become. It's just at different times. I woke up at 5 this morning. Some other people might have woke up at 10. You wake up at different times. In that movie I told you about, Dark City, it says, every now and then, one of them wakes up. That's the coldest line in the whole movie. Because it's telling you about this whole cycle of reincarnation. Every now and then, somebody wakes up. You might wake up as Ella in some lifetime, or you might wake up as John Thompson in another lifetime. But one of these, you're going to have to wake up. That's what the whole thing was created. It's a game. This whole thing is a game for God to know itself. Not to, I'm jealous of you, God, in the Bible. I'm talking about the ultimate reality of the source. There's one source for everything. And that source broke itself up into pieces trying to see itself. And each piece of this mirror that broke up is working to come back to the original source. We ain't no better than the person out there shitting on themselves, doing whatever drug or whatever. That is still God trying to find itself. Nothing can be outside of the source, or else it wouldn't be the source. It is the primary source. It's all about, it ain't about no them, it ain't about no we, it's about you. What can you get out of it? What level of understanding can you gain in this particular incarnation? It ain't about who went to heaven and who went to hell, all that bull. It's about what can you understand in this lifetime?
What can you understand?
We used to sing this song in church, and I know you know it. This little light of mine,
I'm gonna let it shine.
Okay, what is it really saying? Your goal is to develop your light. I told you Christ and Lucifer, Satan is the same. Well, Lucifer means light. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. So Christ is a development of this light that's hidden. This light that fell down into a body, into cells, has to be developed. Doug is a photographer and a videographer. Doug still remembers when you had to go in a damn dark room. That's how my daddy was a photographer. We had a dark room in the basement. And the first thing I learned about photography, don't you flip on them fucking lights, or you're going to get your ass beat. Because daddy got to go and develop these photos in the dark room. Light is developed out of darkness. So your soul has fallen into the dark recesses of matter. And you are extracting that and developing that light out of the darkness.
I'm trying to equate that with my life.
Get the tape. It can't get no simpler than that. You can't explain it no simpler than that. That's just common sense. Light comes out of darkness.
Mm-hmm. I get that.
Your soil, you can't see down in that soil. You can't see them roots. You don't know what's going on under there. That's a whole world beneath that surface where little ants and little worms and shit, they all bury in little tunnels. And all of them are symbiotically related to create an ecosystem beneath what we can see. That is what's called satanic. It's called the occult, the world of the hidden. Because out of the nothing comes the absolute. Out of the hidden comes the visible. Okay, look. We got to deal with this story here.
I'm still trying to get the help.
Because I done marketed this lecture as we was going to... this might have to be a two-part series or something. Because we ain't even gotten to the what-you-call-it.
Oh, Jamal. You still need to get your church.
The crux of what we're talking about, we're using Genesis 38. Genesis 38. And the title is Judah and Tamar. Now, we definitely going to have to do a part 2. Because we ain't going to be able to cover all this. Because this historical part, I don't think we're going to get to it. Because just to go through this story, I want to read this. And matter of fact, what I'm going to do is, we're going to stop probably at, we're probably going to stop at at verse 18. That's 30 verses in chapter 38. But I want to use this. This is a background for all the things we've talked about, because this chapter is going to really lay this out. And I'm going to break it down. And it came about at that time that Judah departed from his brothers and visited a certain Adullamite whose name was Hira. Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua. And he took her and went in to her. So she conceived and bore a son, and he named him Then she conceived again and bore a son and named him Onan. She bore still another son and named him Shelah. And it was at Chezib that she bore him. Now Judah took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. Now, okay, let's stop there at verse 6, because we need to cover some things before we move on. One thing used to turn me off when I used to go to church as a little boy was all these damn names. I was like, Judah and Shua and and
I
all
never
that.
could pronounce them.
I mean, it's like, wow, this bullshit. It's like, because when you're a child, you're taught about you need to memorize these scriptures and this and that. I'm like, who can learn all this fucking Adullamite and and Onan and okay. As adults, most of us still have that mindset about these stories. And that's how we get lost. It sounds so foreign to us. The secret is to look up these names. Now let's back up. First of all, our number one character is Judah. Now, Judah means praised. All right? All right. And he visited a certain Adullamite whose name was Hira. Adullamite means that eats away at a garment. Hira means my brother is elevated. We're going to break this down, how we're going to utilize this. Okay, Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua. Canaanite, cast away. Shua means prosperity. Damn, did I bring my... I had written out I bet I left it. Let me see something. Because I had written out my other little... I knew I had to leave something. Yep, that's all right. That's all right. Or did I? Did I leave it? I had drawn out a little diagram. Let me see. Well, ain't that. Can't remember everything. Okay. All right. So, she conceived. Now, she is Shua's daughter. Okay?
She conceived.
Yeah, Shua had a daughter.
Okay.
Shua is a Canaanite, and he has a daughter. They never give her name. But Judah took her as his wife, and she conceived. Okay? And she bore a son named means light. Now, this is why you have to study the words. Do you remember where Abraham came from?
No.
He came from a city called but it's spelled this way. Of Chaldea. That's where Abraham comes from. And Er or are synonymous. They both mean light. Abraham comes from the light. All right? So is the same thing, light. Then she conceived again and bore a son and named him Onan. Onan means vigor, strength. She bore still another son and named him Shelah. And it was at Chezib that she bore him. Shelah means missile, a weapon. Chezib, falsified. Now, let's start breaking this down so we can get an idea of what this story is actually saying. If Judah means praise, this way you gotta use your imagination. If I praise something, don't I exalt it, put it up on high? Mm-hmm. This would be Judah up here. If you think about digestion, Judah is where the highest part of where you come in contact with the food is right at the mouth. That's Judah. Okay? Because we're thinking in terms of praise as an exalted, as being up high. All right? Now Judah goes and meets, departed from his brothers, and visited a certain Adulamite whose name was Hira. Now Adulamite, that eats away at a garment. Now when you eat, your body first produces saliva. That's the number one mechanism that cuts on for you to start digesting your food. Okay? And what does the saliva do? It wears away at the food. That eats away at a garment. You're eating away at the skin of the food. You're starting to break down your food when you first put it in your mouth because of your saliva. So the saliva would be Adulamite. So here's Judah up here, praised. The saliva, which is, let me put it over here. The saliva is being produced in the mouth. Now the saliva consists of an enzyme called amylase. It might be amylase. That is what is in the saliva that starts the digestion. See how this? You gotta use your imagination. Break it down. Now my brother is elevated is the name of Hira. Okay? Now, Judah also corresponds with the mind because the mind is up on high. When you see food and it's like, you ever heard the statement, oh, that looks so good it made my mouth water? Mm-hmm. Well, what does it come from? It comes from a thought. It is a thought that occurs that makes the saliva start to generate in your mouth because your eye sees the food, but it registers in your brain. Your brain sends down a signal and then your body produces amylase in the saliva. So Judah is up here. He leaves from his brothers and he goes down to meet a man named Hira, the Adulamite. The thought comes down from your mind and goes down into your mouth, and where the saliva is, this is Hira, the Adulamite. Now, Hira also means my brother is elevated, so he would also be the stomach. Your stomach and your brain communicate through something called the hypothalamus. So they're showing you, this is how deep this book is. It's even breaking down the metabolic process in your body. Judah, hypothalamus, communicates with Hira, the stomach. This is how you know when you're full. This is what most overweight people struggle with. They eat so fast because it's so good to them. Because I know, I had to battle weight all my life. When you slow down and eat, you give your stomach and your hypothalamus time to communicate, and then they'll say, oh, I'm full. Most people overeat because they eat so fast, which comes back to the world we live in where you're always under the gun. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. So even when you ain't in a hurry and you're at home just on a Saturday, you still programmed to eat fast because I got to hurry up. And it forces you to end up overeating. Mm-hmm. So they're telling you, Hira means my brother is elevated. His brother would be up here. See what I'm saying? This is elevated relative to your stone. All right. It goes on, it says, Judah saw there a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua, and he took her and went into her. Okay. Shua means prosperity. Prosperity is talking about potential. Let's just look up the word, because I left my other little notes. I had written this. Wait a minute, it might be. I might have it down here in my other notes. What prosperity means in Hebrew. Let me see. Prosperity. Let's just look it up. For those who don't know how to use this, Strong's Concordance, you're going to learn now. You go and you look up in this part. See on the side you got the red. This is just your alphabetical breakdown. So the word I want to look up is prosperity. You have to learn how to cross-reference. So I'm going to find prosperity first. Prosperity. Okay. 2896. This is in the Old Testament, so you're going to be looking up Hebrew words for this. 2896, 7965. So you go back to this section. This is the Hebrew in the middle. Greek is going to be that little black mark on the bottom. So we go 28. What's the number again? 2896. Let me write this off again. 2896. And then we're going to look up 7962 and 7965. I hate that I didn't bring the other, because I already did all this already. But, so I go in the Hebrew section and look up 2896. Accidentally turned to the good, and it comes from Tob. Good, Hebrew word Tob. Good, pleasing, desirable, goodness, better, precious, wealth. Okay, let's look up 7962, see if we can get a little more clarity on it. This is how you have to hunt this stuff down, and you have to be very intent on getting some. And if you don't find it here, more clarity, I'm going to show you how you keep digging. 7962. Salva, prosperity, abundance. And then tell me what. Shalom, peace, safety, prosperity, well-being. Aha. Now we're starting to get somewhere. Because see, I already know what the word peace means. Once again, shalom, S-A-L-O-M, or shalom. I know shalom in Hebrew means peace. In Arabic is Islam. The word Islam means peace. All the same. Peace means to bind together. Now, that gives us a clue. Remember that. Let's put up here, let's say prosperity means peace. Let's go a little further though. Let's look in the origins of English words. Let's go to the back and let's look up prosperity. We find the roots P-E-R, Roman numeral 5, and S-P-H-E-I, Roman numeral 1. Let's write it over here. Let's get rid of this because we got all this already. The roots we found for prosperity, Indo-European roots are this and S-P-H-E-I, Roman numeral 1. So we'll start with per 5 first. And it says, coming beyond or before. Bingo! First part of the lecture, what did we discover when we looked at Satan? Sat, on. On means first. Law, that came down, the first. Prosperity means beyond. Before, if I'm before something, that means I'm first. Coming, beyond, or before. Let me see. Now let's look up S-P-H-E-I. See if we can get a little more clarity. S-P-H-E-I. Ah, now we're getting a little more. It says broad. Spread out. If you come before and it's spread out, what am I talking about? Let's go back to digestion. Food is solid when I eat it. Judah comes down from his brothers to meet Hira the Adullamite. Thought comes down, sees the food, starts producing saliva to digest it. It goes in, okay? And then he goes in to the daughter of prosperity. Prosperity means peace, and peace means to bind something. Also, prosperity means beyond, before. That means it has to come first. And it means broad, spread out. What am I talking about? I'm talking about shit. Listen to the language. Think about what shit does. Shit has to fall down into the ground first so that the ground can be fertilized to produce vegetation. That means shit must come before and shit must be beyond what produced it. When it drops from the ass, it has gone beyond the producer. And it comes before what is going to be the new thing that it will produce. Shit, another word is manure. Manure means to spread with one's hands. There go, you spread out. And when it forms into the shit, it has been bound together. For something to be bound together, it must first be separated. That means whatever, you see the cycle of life going on here? The vegetation is produced from the shit. And then the vegetation has to be destroyed. Destroyed means to separate or break up. Then what is broken up is then bound back together, which becomes prosperity. Prosperity means something has been bound back together and now it has potential. That potential then goes back so that it can be rejuvenated or renewed into vegetation again. They are spelling it all out in this story. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Look at these characters. And when you go and break down these terms, okay. She conceived, which is, she is the daughter of Shua the Canaanite. Another clue is that Canaanite means cast away. Cast away means thrown. That's defecation. You're talking about excrement. Now, so when Judah goes into her, which she would be, I think this is the colon over here, if I'm not.
I was wondering what that C was.
And this would be, Shua's daughter, okay? She produces 3 sons. Onan, Shelah. Now I want you to think about digestion. We said that when a photographer needs to develop film, he must go into darkness to extract the light out of the emulsified paper. This is the food being digested. Okay? Now, when the food is digested, the light is buried. Now let me go back to the story. It says, now Judah took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was evil in the sight of the Lord, so the Lord took his life. We got to stop right there. To really understand how this all factors into the digestion, you got to stop. Once they say the word evil, we got to go and look at what evil means. Evil comes from the root upo, Indo-European root. Upo means down under, but it also means precious stone. Precious stone. So if was killed because he was evil, it means was the precious stone. The light itself is the precious stone that was buried down into the gastrointestinal tract. The second son was Onan. Now let's talk about what happened to Onan. Then Judah said to Onan, go into your brother's wife, because remember, has been killed. Remember we said kill, eat, destroy are synonymous. Go back to the apple. The apple has to be killed. Okay, so the second son, Judah tells him to go into wife, who is Tamar. Okay? So, go into your brother's wife and perform your duty as a brother-in-law to her, and raise up offspring for your brother. Onan knew that the offspring would not be his, so when he went in to his brother's wife, he wasted his seed on the ground in order not to give offspring to his brother. Now, 2 things we got to look at. They literally said wasted seed on the ground. You scatter your seeds on the ground, out there in the garden. Also, what it's saying too, because we go back and look at Onan, the meaning of his name is vigor and strength. When you digest your food, when you eat, what's the whole purpose of eating other than just to fulfill on a true physiological level? You eat to what? To get strength. Well, nourishment. Onan is the nourishment. You got to first kill the light in the food, and then you extract nourishment from it. Vigor, strength. All right? Next. But what he did was displeasing in the sight of the Lord, so he took his life also. This is Onan. Because he spilled the seed, his life had to be taken. That means the strength had been extracted for the food. It got to keep on decomposing. This is digestion. All right? But then Judah said to his daughter-in-law, Tamar, remain a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah, listen to the doggone verbiage, until my son Shelah grows up. You can read that several ways. Grows up. Let's just stick with gardening until the vegetation grows up. For he thought, I am afraid that too many die. He may too die like his brothers. So Tamar went and lived in her father's house. Now, after a considerable time, Shua's daughter, remember Shua is prosperity. Listen, Shua's daughter, the wife of Judah, died. We have just completed the digestion process. Because Food has completely been decomposed now. Shula's daughter dies. And when the time of mourning was ended, Judah went up to his sheep shearers at Timnah. Now let's look at that. Timnah means lot, portion. A lot is the same as cast away. That's why it's a portion, something that's thrown away, a lot. Okay, he went up to Timnah for, and his friend here, wait a minute. Now after a considerable time, Shua's daughter, the wife of Judah, died. And when the time of mourning was ended, mourning is again talking about the digestion of the first meal. All right? Judah went up to his sheep shearers. Now stop. This is how you can't, see how long it's taking us to get through this scripture? This is how you have to read it to really know what they're saying. Use your creative mind. Sheep shearer. If I'm going to shear some sheep, what am I doing?
Shaving.
Okay, it's some type of knife, right?
Uh-huh.
Now just go back to our model and let's just think. What would be the equivalent of a sheep shearer based on this model? Use your creativity.
Okay, to remove the hair.
No, it ain't nothing. Remember, all we're talking about is digestion.
Okay.
How in the digestion process, where would we come back to a sheep shearer? What would be the equivalent?
The apple. Is the apple?
You're going to be mad when I tell you.
I'm thinking the apple, we taking that in and you taking the hair off.
But what is the equivalent of the shearing mechanism based on this model?
The shearing mechanism based on.
What is the shearing?
Okay, you cut it.
What's the cutter? What cuts? You're going to be mad.
Digestive system, cut teeth, cutting out.
Teeth!
Okay.
He had another meal. He went up to Timnah, the sheep shearer, of the place where the sheep shearer was. Timnah means lot. He received another piece of food. The sheep shearer is the teeth. We're talking about digestion. It starts all over again. We're talking about alchemy. Once you become and develop yourself, you go back on the journey again. He finished digesting the original food and it died. That was the defecation. And he goes back up to eat again. Sheep shearer, teeth.
Excuse me.
A lot, portion. He goes up to Timnah. He's talking about another portion of food. All right? Let's keep moving. Now after considerable time, Judah went up to his sheep shearers at Timnah, he and his friend Hira the Adullamite. What did we discover Hira the Adullamite's purpose was again? Saliva, amylase, digestion. See? He's about to digest some more food. So we got to go back to Hira the Adullamite. All right. It was said to Tamar, behold, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep. So she removed her widow's garments and covered herself with a veil and wrapped herself and sat in the gateway of Enom. Now Enom means two springs. The gateway, so your throat consists of this. You got two passages, right? She's set in the esophagus. This is the throat. She's right here. She's sitting in here because she's preparing for the digestion of another meal.
Who is she?
Tamar.
Okay.
Tamar. And look what Tamar means. Complete, finish, consumed, wasted. Waste. You consume something, then you have waste. You finish consuming something, and then you have waste. She's waiting for another meal. She's is another version of digestion. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sit at the gateway of Enom, which is on the road of Timnah, for she saw that Shelah had grown up, and she had not been given to him as a wife. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a harlot, for she had covered her face. So he turned aside to her by the road and said, here now, let me come into you. See, now that's sexual. This is what, you got two things going. You got sexual symbolism and digestion all the same. That's the whole point, is to show you the alchemical, magical process of both. Sex and digestion go concurrent, they run parallel to each other. If you understand what is really going on, you are taking energy and transforming it into its higher form through the consumption. A child is born because a man is destroyed. A man is erect when he begins the act of sex. It is through the destruction of his penis, which is when he ejaculates, he loses his erection. So that's the equivalent of destroying the penis. But through the destruction of the penis, the sperm comes out, and that is what impregnates the woman. The food goes in solid and complete. It is through the destruction of the food that the essence of it is extracted, and then the nourishment is taken, and then there's a new vigor, or revitalizing of the body, and then the excrement is extracted. Same thing. They go hand in hand. He goes into her. Here now, let me come into you, for he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, what will you give me, that you may come into me? He said, therefore, I will send you a young goat from the flock. She said, moreover, will you give a pledge until you send it? A goat is talking about one's lower nature. You coming back down to here again. Now he's coming back to transformation. To transform, you have to come back down. This is humbling, to go down to being nothing. All transformation comes out of the digestive tract. Digestive tract is a metaphor for you being humble. You willing to walk in shit. Jesus is born in a manger. A manger is where animals are defecating. It is the ultimate act of suffering, is to be willing to be humble enough to go out to being shit. That's how I got on this path. I had to get humbled by fucked up shit happening in life to put my ass on the path of becoming what I was supposed to be. I had to go and walk in shit. So he's pledging the goat, meaning he's pledging his lower animalistic nature to be sacrificed so that he can become who he's supposed to be. Now, keep going. I will send you a young goat from the flock. She said, moreover, will you give a pledge until you send it? He said, what pledge shall I give you? And she said, your seal and your cord and your staff. Now this is deep. This really solidifies what we're talking about. She said, give me your seal, your cord, and your staff. This is what the old preachers will say. This is where I want to hang my hat. Okay.
What scripture are you in?
I'm reading the whole chapter 38 of Genesis.
Oh, okay. Genesis, in the beginning. Okay,
Now, okay, she said, give me your seal, your cord, and your staff.
give me. Now she's
Telling, this is Tamar.
Tamar telling.
Now, you understand who Tamar is. Tamar done had two people done got down with her and they got killed. She's now been left to the youngest son, Shelah, and she's supposed to wait for him to come to grow.
Right, of a man, yeah.
So she hears that Judah is coming up to Timnah again. So she goes and sits on the gateway as he's passing to go to Timnah, waiting on him. She removes her widow's garment and puts on a veil. That means she made herself available.
In other words,
The veil,
yeah.
the veil in those times was supposed to signify that you're a prostitute.
Oh, I thought that you are I'm single, I'm ready, okay, I'm
Yeah, the prostitute.
advertising.
The prostitute is wears the veil.
Oh, okay.
That's why he assumes she's a prostitute. But see, you got to even go into that. The whore is the highest person in the whole book. It is Mary Magdalene who's the whore, who goes and wipes Jesus' feet with spikenard oil with her hair. Because the hair symbolizes wisdom. Because from hair, we get H-A-I-R, hair is synonymous with H-A-R-E, hair as in the rabbit. And that is synonymous with the coney. Another name for a rabbit is coney. And coney means knowledge. So when she wiped Jesus' feet, it's really saying that Jesus was crippled. Whenever you see feet referenced in scripture, it's talking about somebody crippled. She wipes his feet, so she gives him understanding. Because when you restore the feet and somebody can walk, they have their legs functioning. The legs of any object, that chair is sitting up because it's got legs under it. If I crack one of them legs, you're going to fall, the chair going to fall, because you've lost your understanding. She takes her hair, the whore, Mary Magdalene, and wipes his feet with the oil. The oil represents the anointing. The hair represents the understanding. She anoints him with understanding so he can stand back up. Goes back to the story I originally told you of Isis and Osiris. She's the one who puts the man back together. It is the feminine aspect of one's nature that puts the whole person back together. Your soul has to be illuminated to anoint you with oil. That's Christ. So that you can stand back up. So when they say she's a prostitute, they're saying she's divine. The prostitute is the most divine character in all them stories. It's always the prostitute, the one that's smited the most. Or smitten, whatever is a proper tense.
Why we downgrade them in this society?
You thinking, don't.
Okay, get out.
That's mundane. Mm-hmm. Everything that's why black people downgrade. Everything that is considered to be the most repudiated, in a sense, it is the reverse and the real, actual spiritual world. Why does shit stink? Don't nobody want to be around no shit, and don't want to be around nobody who smell like shit. But shit is the number one thing for life to continue. You let shitting stop, first of all, you gonna die if you don't shit. Because you're gonna be full of toxins. And there ain't gonna be no vegetation, no fruit, no nothing if there ain't no shit. Shit is, this is another thing I want to get to. All throughout this Bible, this is why you gotta have more than one version of a Bible. This version I have here is called an Updated New American Standard Bible. So everywhere where they had the word shittim, they went through and changed it to acacia wood. So this is why you got to have another. Because this one...
You know, traditionally African Americans use King James. If all we know.
PhD.
Okay. I mean, when I used to come and walk in church with that modern man, nobody wanted to hear that.
Well, you got to have different versions so you can all compare them. It's all about cross-referencing. Mm-hmm. You don't never want to have no one. You got to have several. You need to get your parallel Bible. You can look at several ones. And then even in some of those, they play and change. So you have a parallel. Then you have just a straight-up King James. And you need other versions like this. Young's Literal. So you can see where they've gone in and doctored up words to hide and obscure certain things.
So which one we believe?
It ain't about belief.
It's about knowledge, gaining knowledge.
It's about when you are writing a dissertation to get your master's, or if you're going for your PhD, do you use one source?
No.
Do you not have to cross-reference? That's the same thing. We don't think that way when it comes to this. This shit is research. I'll go up against anybody because I know how to research. Because that's the way you got to approach this. This is the highest thing to figure out. If you figure this out right here, you cold thing. Because this takes labor. Mm-hmm. But I mean, what's more important than figuring? Because I know the book is a manual about me. What's more important than me figuring myself out? I'm figuring me out through these scriptures. All this shit about David and Abraham, that's bullshit. I want to figure out what do they really represent? What do they symbolize?
Because until I get to that, I ain't doing nothing. I ain't busting a grape.
But then again, you also have to relate it to your own life, and that you
Well, let's relate it to your own life. First of all, hold on. Let's deal with one thing at a time.
because that's what we do.
Because I'm gonna pull it back. Because the whole talk has been about relating it to your life. Look, they give you the model of digesting food because the digestion of food is supposed to give you a model to apply to what your soul is going through. Listen, look at the symbology. Judah means praised. You asked me about heaven and hell. This is the metaphorical concept of heaven. It's up here, the mind. Hell is down here where the digestion is. You are being transformed in hell so that you can become something greater. The whole story is about suffering. Suffering for a purpose. The worst thing you want to do is have your suffering be in vain. But if I tell you that you're suffering because, Miss Moody, you're suffering because in 2 weeks you're going to have $1 billion. You'd be like, well, shit, I can do this. I believe I can carry on.
I can suffer 24/7.
See? Exactly.
Fuck.
That's what this is structured for.
But technically, we don't want to suffer. We do everything in life to prevent suffering.
And
we
that's
don't
why
want our children to suffer.
And that's why our lives are a perpetual state of misery. Because we don't want to accept the role of suffering in our transformation. And as long as you run from suffering, you extend your suffering.
Mm-hmm.
You have not just a life, you have lives of suffering. Until you accept and face suffering head up and walk through that shit, go through the fire, you just extend your stay in hell. But let me show you how these things are changed, how these translations are doctored with. We're just going to look at Exodus 25 and 5 and 10. First of all, we're going to go to this one. We're going to go in this American Standard Bible. I'm going to show you how they play games. It's why you have to be a diligent student. Exodus chapter 25, verse 5. It says, it's talking about the things used to build the tabernacle, I think. Let's just start at verse 3. This is the contribution which you are to raise from them: gold, silver, and bronze, blue, purple, and scarlet material, fine linen, goat hair, ram skin, dyed red, porpoise skins, acacia wood. Now, let's go to the Young's literal translation and let's read the same verse. We're going to start at 3 again. And this is, and this is the heave offering which ye take from them: gold and silver and brass, and blue and purple and scarlet and linen and goat's hair and ram skins made red and badger skins and shittim wood.
They have it acacia wood.
That's right.
Oil for the lamp, spices for the anointing oil.
Go down to verse 10. What you got? It starts with and they.
Scroll down. Well, darn. Exodus 9. Mine stopped at footnote. Let's see. Exodus.
Same chapter, just verse 10.
I'm not showing it. Maybe it's the next page. What was it? 10.
25 and 10.
Okay. 25.
This is talking about building the ark. Ark of the covenant.
Exodus 25. 10.
You got it?
Okay, Exodus 25 and 10 says, have them make an ark of whatever that word you said.
Acacia wood.
Acacia wood, 1.5 cubic long, a cubic and a half wide, and a cubic and a half high.
Okay, let me read mine. This out coming out of this New American Standard. It says, they shall construct an ark of acacia wood 2.5 cubits long. All right, let's stop right there. Now, Young's Literal says, and they have made an ark of shittim wood. See why they had to change that? Because then somebody's going to make the connection. Shittim. Let me spell out how they spell it in there. Shittim. Shit. That is a necessary ingredient. Shit. They're telling you all throughout the Old Testament. Shit, 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 shit. Shit is the key. They're telling you it's talking about alchemy. That's how we know we're not far-fetched when we say this story is using the template of digestion to tell you about your whole existence as a soul. What the act of sex really is, what when you eat, what it really is, all these things. If it's the truth, then the truth can be applied in anywhere you want to put it, because the truth stands. So getting back to the story in Genesis, she said, what will you pledge? She wants his seal, his cord, and his staff. Seal means ring. Remember the Lord of the Rings?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what would be the rings? One would be the mouth, and the other one would be the anus. She wants control over the doors. That's the seal. These are the 2 rings. She wants the cord. See those cords?
Intestine.
She wants digestion. So the rings control the doorways. The digestion means the destruction. Now what's the staff?
Penis.
Partly. But let me show you this. See if this looks familiar to you.
Oh, that's a medical sign. Caterpillar, butterfly. Got some wings.
Spine.
Spine.
Mm-hmm.
She wants a spine.
What does that mean?
Well, she wants control. If the ring is the
We talked
seal,
about
mouth,
We talk about the cycle of all existence. First thing that happens is you have to get involved. When you eat of the fruit, you have now become involved. That's why Adam and Eve get kicked out of the garden. Once they take the bite, they become involved in the game. Okay?
Okay.
Now, the first thing that happens after you get involved is you start to devolve. At a certain point, you get so low, the bottom of devolution is shit. That's the extraction of the devolution cycle. But the shit then goes back into the ground so that something new can grow. This is what's called evolution, or evolving, the up cycle. The devolution aspect is, she says she wants the cord. The ring is the involvement, the point where you get involved. The devolution is the digestion, you're going down. The spine is the evolution where you rise. There's the reason these snakes are on here, this is called the Ida and Pingala, but it's also called the Kundalini energy.
What might that be?
It's called a serpent. There's a serpent inside of you coiled up at the base of your spine, a metaphorical serpent. This is literally what God is in you. And when you gain this level of understanding that we're seeking, you raise God up. So when Moses raises the staff up in the wilderness, that's a Kundalini story, talking about your divine knowledge of yourself, of God in you being realized. It rises up your spine. Your spine stands upright. That's why in masonry they're talking about standing upright and perpendicular. Because this is the ground. To be perpendicular to the ground is to be upright, 90 degrees. That's your spine. It is Lot's wife in Genesis who turns back. When she turns back, she's turned into a pillar of salt. That pillar of salt is talking about the spine. She's the one who makes the way for them to come out of Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom is, again, one of the rings, the ass. From the digestive tract, she creates the way for them to come up out of Sodom and go into the highlands, or whatever the name was, the place they went. She turned back. Spine. Your spine is, get thee behind me. See, we always hear that saying, say, Satan, get thee behind me. And we thinking, get behind me, Satan. Mm-hmm. No. Look at it a different way. If me and you are hanging out, me and Doug hanging out, Doug's my homeboy. I'm like, Doug, these assholes been fucking with me. Now, if they try to come get at me, Doug, hey man, you got my back? Yeah, I got your back, man. I'll bust a motherfucker in the head with a beer bottle when they come up on you. Do you have my back? Get behind me, man. Your spine. See, it's all about how you look at it. Our minds have been conditioned to see it from a certain way. You have to get outside the box to reverse it and see what it really means. If I got your back, that means I'm supporting you. Your spine supports you. So she looked back, she was the spine, so that they could rise up out of Sodom and Gomorrah. Same thing here. You tear up things through the digestion, and the energy of you, the realization of you being your divinity rises up here. Which is reversed from like when we in the world we live in, it's the sun rises up in the east. It goes both ways. The sun rises in the east, it sets in the west, but you got the same thing. You got basically a circle, a cycle keeps going on. It rises, it sets. Well, in this one they're saying it rises up through the spine, but it's all the same thing. You're talking about a continuous cycle of you being broken down so that you can become something greater. That's the basic crux of all this. So we're talking about how, let's go beyond mental masturbation, Jamal. How can I apply this in my life? I just told you. You going through shit, you catching hell, and you trying to figure out, what the hell, why am I going through this? Because you are being forced to become something greater.
So you be breaking down to become something greater.
That's right. That's what alchemy is. That's why
Breaking down.
all in the Bible they're talking about grapes going through a wine press. Those grapes, we say, oh, it's so terrible that those grapes have to get crushed. But how else are you going to form wine unless them grapes get crushed?
So some of the tragic things that people experience in life, you saying this is supposed to happen. Yeah, they supposed to be going through this.
That's right. To become. I went through my own tragedies to become. I wouldn't trade what I've been able to learn now for all the tea in China. Because I was an ignorant asshole.
So therefore, okay, all the tragedies happened. The woman in Dallas whose son, 15-year-old baby, was killed by the police officer. That was supposed to happen. I remember telling a coworker of mine, he was going through a divorce, and he was still raw in it. And I told him that this is what it's supposed to happen. Nothing, there's no accidents in life.
That's right.
Well, people don't want to hear that.
There are none. Because it's easier to feel like you're a victim.
Well, then also to feel like a victim, and you have to deal with the SHIT that comes with it.
That's right.
So I guess you just have to be cautious of when you're going to bring that out to people. Because it's like my sister lost her husband. Now I can go and tell her, well, Ray was supposed to die.
Well, see, we got to come back to. So there's one thing that's hard for us to overcome is this feeling of altruism that I got to save somebody. I don't try to talk to people who this is not for. You know how many times I've had to learn this hard lesson, trying to talk to somebody who just, don't. I am so blessed, not blessed, but blessed that I have an outlet where people come looking for this type of information. The people who sign up through my little website and things, and who hear me on the radio and my little videos and things, these people coming looking for this food. Because I've spent so many years talking to people who don't want to hear this shit. You don't cast pearls before swine.
Mm-hmm.
So it ain't for them. If it ain't for them, it ain't for them. This is for those. Doctors do not go out trying to talk to the undergrads. Say, you ought to come on and get your PhD. I had one professor told me, because they know when they spot somebody who's. She said when I was about to graduate, you ever thought about going to grad school? She said, because all those questions you ask and you know how you think, the way you think you need to be in grad school. Well, see, that's because there's only certain people you're going to approach like that. You don't tell all these people who in class who trying to stay awake and just barely getting by. It's those people who them 3.8 GPA, 3.9, who get up there and debate with the professor and this and, that's the person who need to be in grad school. Mm-hmm. Them other ones, Ella, they ain't supposed to go and be in no PhD program. It ain't for them.
I guess it's like when, I tell you about my frustrations with real estate and educating black people on the importance of investing their money into something. And you get all this resistance, and that's what burnt me out.
Because it was you needed to go through that to put you on, to give you the time to do this type of stuff.
Well, I look at that money too.
But here's the thing.
You have a hard time accepting that, you won't.
No, I don't have to accept it. I'm only dealing with the truth.
Right, you don't.
I
agree. You have to go through something. You got to be rebirthed.
We're in different positions in life. See, I done been down in shit. You ain't been down in not quite enough manure yet. So it gives me a different perspective. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna wrap this thing because I got to. First of all, let me show you this code. This is what we was building up to. The code is this: Onan, Shayla. They give you a code in there. This is a Greek character.
Oh yes.
The three sons. This is Eros.
Eros.
That's what the code is hidden in them scriptures. Eros. Eros is the god of desire in Greek. Love and desire. See, we think it's all about, he's about, ooh, you look good, baby, I got to have you. That's what we think desire is. No. Desire is a longing to be whole. Desire is the longing between two polar opposites. This is A. This is B. Desire is what occurs between these two. It is the attraction they have. But why are they attracted to each other? Because they have been separated from each other. And what they're really attracted to is the ability of the other one to help them become whole. Mm-hmm. That's what desire is. It ain't about,
That's not a good basis for a relationship. Because I can't expect you to make me whole.
No, you're missing it. It ain't about you making me whole. It's that you and I together create something whole. Okay. Because we are in a world of duality where a man is separated from a woman through physiological differences. But spiritually, we are truly androgynous. That's where we come from. Androgyny means that you're whole. So the reason a man and a woman desire each other is because they're subconsciously desiring to be whole again, to be complete. Remember, that's who she is. She's complete. She represents the soul. The soul wants to be whole again. And on the physical level, the man and the woman are attracted to each other because they are attracted to the ability to be whole. So, let's wrap this up.
The ability to be whole.
Yeah, to be whole. Because it's an understanding that they are incomplete.
I guess I'm just messed up in the head.
What is confusing
I'm
about it?
not attracted to man to be whole.
Because you're thinking, Ella,
Okay. I'm thinking.
I keep
Right.
telling you, we're
PhD.
talking about the roots, and you're describing the leaves on the plant to me. I'm not talking about something that's above the ground.
Okay.
There's a conscious mind, there's a subconscious mind. I'm not talking about on the conscious what you see.
You talking about subconscious. Go on.
Your subconscious mind is attracted to the potential of being whole. Your subconscious mind ain't even looking at no damn man. It's looking like, he wears a size 14 shoe. He black, he light. That's your conscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
On a subconscious level, there is a longing because you can't see thought.
Well, I think I am on a sub.
No, you're not. You're dealing with surface. Surface is about, I don't need no man to make me whole. I'm independent.
No, it's not so much as that, is that I look at, when you start looking at somebody to make you whole, you setting yourself up for disappointment.
No,
You
you're not.
can't make me whole. I can't make you whole.
It's not
I can
about.
improve upon what you have and vice versa with me.
No, it's
Don't
not.
ever go into, I would say, don't go into a relationship thinking somebody's going to make you whole.
You're still missing my point.
Okay, well.
We're not talking about on a human level.
Okay.
You're giving me human variables when I'm talking about being the damn God of the cosmos. I don't give a damn about no two Jenny and Johnny. I'm talking about they are symbols of something deeper. The longing, that's why we got this breakdown. This word is the most misinterpreted, that concept of eros, desire. Desire is the same thing. This is how we're gonna bring this thing home. I'm glad because this is somebody gonna be looking at this. You are speaking for them. So don't take what you are speaking for them. This is spiritual. This is beautiful.
I
Look.
don't know if your dog gonna hunt now.
Well, it ain't got to hunt with you. Because the truth don't stand whether you get it or not.
Right.
But somebody out there gonna get it. Listen. Desire is synonymous with passion. Can we agree on that?
Right.
All right. Look how simple this thing gonna be. Desire, passion. You ever heard of something called the Passion of Christ?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. But what is it really talking about? Do you know that from the same root? See, we're gonna go back to scholarship. See, you can't debate with scholarship because it's just gonna be it's in your face. That's an Indo-European root. It's in this book right here. P-A-E-N. These three words come from the same root. Pain, patience. Passion, pain, patience come from the same root. We've already accepted that this is synonymous with desire. This is what desire really means. Passion, pain, and patience. Because when something is driving you that you cannot understand what it is, that is what desire really is. Desire is your soul speaking and telling you what it wants. Not your conscious mind, not looking at this man thinking, oh, I got to have me a man. See, you keep putting it in those terms.
And that's the way people look at it. Okay,
you
Jamal.
keep trying to
But
tell
I'm
me about
just telling you,
people.
I know, but you're not gonna get around that because the people are you asking somebody to go deep.
I'm not
under it.
asking them to do nothing. That's what you keep missing. I am teaching a PhD class.
And half of the people at the elementary level.
What did, We're not arguing that. You still trying to tell me I'm not doing Dr. Seuss nursery rhymes. There's plenty of people that can just say, I'm a little teapot, short and stout. They got plenty of people to sing nursery rhymes to them. This,
And
I told you from the
a
beginning.
lot of people going to interpret it the way I have.
And they're going to have to grow into where they can understand this. But I am delivering. Somebody got to deliver the doggone. You can't just shut the university down because you're like, well, I can't. It's for those who can get it. And you know, see, this is where we lose out. You know how I got here? Through what I'm explaining to you right now. Desire.
Desire.
Because my desire drove me to study when it ain't popular, when I ain't got no damn money, I ain't got no fanfare. I just wanted to know. That's why I know it. So it ain't gonna be for nobody who ain't done the labor that I have. So I'm not trying to convince somebody who's not willing to labor the way I have to get these
What are you
jewels.
trying to get? What did you? Are you trying to be another Jesus? Go out and this new.
We done sat here for 3 hours and you think I'm trying to be a damn... Look, if I wanted, let me tell you something. I have sold everything under the sun. I have been a criminal and everything.
Oh Jesus! I got a criminal in my house. Go ahead.
So let's just put the cards on the table.
Ooh.
I know how to be a damn wordsmith if I wanted to bullshit people. If I want to swindle people, I'm not going to tell them the damn truth. I'm not going to tell them where I get my information. I'm going to tell them I'm going to get me a hoverboard. I'm going to put a purple robe on. I'm going to perm this long ass hair out and grow my beard out and get me a big old long chain like, I am Father Good Shit. I'll be running around, Father Good Shit.
I told you need
Father
to go into
Good
the
Shit.
ministry.
No, that's what I would do. That's not my purpose.
What is?
To tell the truth.
And that's what every minister that sits up in that pulpit.
Well, I don't give a damn about other ministers. That's the key. I'm not saying come to me.
But people are looking for something, and that's what you're going to get is people going to want to follow. I like what he's saying. It's something different. It's not the tradition that I've been led to believe.
It's beautiful, this struggle that you have.
Jack Daniel out. That's what I'm
Do what you gotta do. Get a shot, because you need something to jolt you out of this.
I
Cause
need
you
to get me some whiskey, because I'm just telling you what God loves, and that's the truth. I'm going to call a thing a thing.
Look, let me wrap this up. Get the tape. Get the tape. The Golden Ass
The golden ass.
has the story of Psyche and Eros. Psyche is a beautiful human who has angered one of the goddesses, Venus. Because Venus is known to be the most beautiful goddess in all existence. She's angry because Psyche, who has 2 other sisters, is the most beautiful of them. And everybody loves her. And they go and do sacrifices to her like she's a goddess. But she can't find no damn man. So Venus is still angry though. So Venus tells her son, Eros, to go and send an ugly man down for her to fall in love with. But Eros couldn't do it because he fell in love with Psyche himself. And he comes and visits her every night and makes love to her. All right? Psyche has disappeared from her 2 sisters. And they don't know where she's at. Psyche's parents don't know where she's at. She gets whisked away by the west wind and taken down into this world that no one can find her. They send out the sisters looking for her, and the sisters, word comes back to Psyche that the sisters are upset because they haven't found her. They don't know if she's okay. So she commands the west wind, because Psyche has been swept down into this beautiful land that Eros has left for her, where her servants come to her, but she can't see them, but she can hear them, and she can see what they're doing for her. They're talking about her hormones, because you can't see them, but they serve you.
when your mind is in control. But she sends the west wind up to go and whisk her sisters down to her. And when they come down and see how she's living, they get jealous. Because the two sisters, although they were married, they have husbands that they can't stand. So they get jealous and they start plotting on Psyche. At the same time, Venus, remember, she was plotting on her. She sent her son. So the son has secretively fallen in love, and the mama don't know that instead of sending the ugly man, he's the one that's been laying with her. And he impregnates her. Since he's a god, she's going to give birth to a god. So, when the sisters come, they make up this story and tell her, we heard about this man of yours, and though you know you're in danger. That's a serpent that you've been sleeping with, and he will eventually kill you. He lures in pregnant women, then he eats them and devours them. So she gets scared, and she gets a knife, and she gets a lamp, and she says, I'm going to flash this lamp on this nigga, and I'm going to kill him tonight. When she pulls out the lamp and turns on the light and gets the knife, she sees that it's Eros, the most beautiful god, because Eros in Greece is the equivalent of Cupid in Rome. Cupid is where we get all our little Valentines. He got shot by Cupid's arrow. He and Eros are the same. She sees this beautiful Eros. And when she's looking at him, the lamp drops some oil and burns his shoulder, and that's what wakes him up. And he's pissed because he had warned her, they're going to try to come and separate us, and they're going to make up lies. You can never look at me. Now, that's a whole nother biological story, because Eros is representing melatonin, because it comes out at night. That's the night hormone. Okay? Because he always leaves before daybreak. He's melatonin. So they give you all types of little secrets in this story. So he gets angry at her, and he says, I'll make sure that your sisters pay for this, because he knows that they put her on to this by lying to her. But he's angry. He says, I'm going to leave your ass. I'm gone. He flies away. She realizes that she's mad in love with him, and she goes searching for him all through forever, looking for him. Now, meanwhile, Venus has told Juno, which is Jupiter's sister, lover, and another one. These are both her two aunts. How angry she is with this Psyche, because who the fuck she thinks she is? That she's just as beautiful as I am. You know, so she goes and starts hunting for her, because Psyche has taken off trying to find Eros. Long story short, she goes first to the first aunt's house, and the aunt says, I can't get involved with this with Venus. That's my girl. You lucky I don't have you arrested. I'm just going to tell you, you need to keep on moving. Because Psyche has caught on. First she's looking for Eros, and then she's also caught wind when she goes to the first sister's house that Venus is looking for her, trying to kill her. All up to this time, she didn't know. So now she's doubly in trouble. She can't find her lover, and she knows she's being hunted. Now remember who her lover is, Desire. She goes to the second aunt's house. She tells her, look, I ain't getting involved. You need to go on and just find your way. This girl is so distraught, she tries to kill herself 4 times. Each time she tries to kill herself, a divine message comes through and tells her, you need to do this and do that. No, first, let me back up. She decides she's just going to go and turn herself into Venus and throw herself at her mercy. Well, Venus gets her in there and talks shit to her and tells her, you want to live? Well, you got this task. Go and do this for me. And she gives her these outrageous tasks. And when she goes on the first one, she's so overwhelmed, she's thinking, fuck it, I'm just going to kill myself. And right when she's about to give up, a divine voice comes through and tells her, this is how you need to do this to accomplish this task. She comes back, it ain't good enough. I know somebody's helping you. Well, I got something else for you. Go down here and fetch this cup of water at this, and from the Styx River. The Styx River is the river of death. go and get this water. She gets up there, she's like, how the hell I'm gonna do this? I'm just gonna jump. And then the water speaks to her, or something up there spoke to her and told her, an eagle came, and the eagle went and fetched the water. All this stuff is symbolic. Okay, she completes all these tasks to make a long story short. And Jupiter is made aware of what's been going on. He says, I'll fix this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure. He talks to Venus. He says, look, you have nothing to worry about. Why should you be jealous of this young boy's love, his desire, his love affair, whatever? I'm going to make sure I'll fix both of them. I'm going to make sure that she's forever stuck with Eros. That she has to fall in love with love. Now, when that happens, they get back together. Eros goes, he kills off the other two sisters for them trying to, no, actually, Psyche goes and tricks the other two sisters and they kill themselves because she tells them that Eros left her and each of them try to go and pursue him. And they end up jumping off of a cliff and falling to their death, trying to steal her man, who they had tricked her into running off. So the moral of the story comes back to Eros and the Psyche become merged forever. Jupiter talks Venus out of trying to kill the girl after she completed all these tasks. And that's the end of the story. What's the damn moral? That when one pursues one desires, that the cosmos has to open up and make a way for you to always survive and make it. I just had this shit happen this morning. Magical stuff. Magical things happen when you are truly on your path. And when you are truly hunting, when you have something that is eating at you and you can't stop. How did I get to this? Because it's like you eat something you can't get enough of. Once you get a taste of knowledge, you can never get enough. Because the questions keep coming, and if the questions come and you're willing to labor, damn answers got to come too. She went on a quest for desire, and she fell in love with desire. Listen to her name, Psyche. Where we get the term psychology. The marriage was made between the mind and desire. Desire is deeper than you think it's some man gonna make you whole. It ain't about that. The ultimate actual path is just to become whole. That is what desire, the attraction is to becoming whole. It first banks on one understanding that they are fractured. God literally fractured. And God is looking to be whole again. That's the whole point of the transformation. That's the whole point of the alchemy. That's the whole point of suffering. God needs to know itself and needs to know every experience there is to know so that it can be whole. That means somebody's son got to die. That means somebody got to lose a loved one. Somebody's got to lose a love of their life. Somebody has to know love. Someone has to know what joy is. Someone has to know what pain is. You got to experience all this because God needs to experience humanity so that it can come back, bring that data back, and then become something greater. Because everything dies if it just sits. That is what I could not deal with when I was in 1983. When my grandmother, Mary Robinson, passed. That's when I knew. That's when I started my actual journey. Because I could not fathom the concept of going to heaven and everything just perfect and then it stops. And when I got beyond the grief of her dying, what troubled me more was trying to understand eternity. You mean to tell me nothing changes no more? It's just we're going to get there. I was like, okay, we're going to be on it. I had the picture. See, I'm an artist, so I could picture it in my head. I pictured how the gate, and we in the white robes, and it's like, okay, so we're here. Well, what we going to do? This is it? This is what we've been waiting on? It's just going to be this forever? And that troubled me more than her actual death. Stagnation is what death is. When something ain't moving no more, even God itself ain't moving no more, it dies. So let's go, so beyond thinking of God, think of the source. That's a better term. The source has to fall in order for it to rise higher. That's why we got to get out of the thing about, oh, there's a Satan over here and there's a God and a Jesus. No, a basketball only bounces high depending on how hard you throw it into the ground. Something has to fall in order to rise. Otherwise, a basketball just sits right here on the floor. Even if we don't touch it, it's eventually going to deflate. Just time. It's going to deflate, even if you don't use it. And it just becomes a worthless object because it wasn't used. It didn't move. It didn't vibrate. That story is telling you, pursue your desires. See, we got to break out of we got a Western paradigm of what desire. I desire to have me a brand new Mercedes. I desire to have me a 15-bedroom house. That's not desire, that's ego. True desire comes out of your soul. Because when you have true desire, you'll suffer for that shit. You'll go through pain for it. And it'll force you to be patient.
Now that, I can't relate.
Final thing, we're going to close. This is going to take about 30 seconds, and we're going to close on this. We're going to close with this. This is bad. This book is called Wisdom of the Idiots. Idris Shah. Let me just read you how he opens up. Why does he call it this? Because what narrow thinkers imagine to be wisdom is often seen by the Sufis to be folly. The Sufis, in contrast, sometimes call themselves the idiots. By a happy chance, too, the Arabic word for saint, wali, has the same numerical equivalent as the word for idiot, balid. So we have a double motive for regarding the Sufi great ones as our own idiots. This book contains some of their knowledge. You understand what that's saying? The world says that this is idiocy. This is stupid stuff. You ain't talking about how to build a career. You ain't talking about how you going. So this is considered stupid. So because we are in contrast to what they consider as being true knowledge, the Sufi says, oh, we're the idiots. Wisdom of the idiots. Because in the world's eyes, that sees through just the lens of the conscious mind and not the subconscious, just about what can I see, what can I see. This shit is just folly. So it's a play on words. So people who actually understand wisdom, they're considered to be the idiots in the world we live in. Mm-hmm. The wise man is seen as the fool, and the fool is seen as the wise man. So this quick story, same lines as this, about understanding the desires of your soul. Not your conscious mind, but your soul. This little story is called Food and Pens. Once upon a time, and this is a true story, there was a student. He used to go every day to sit at the feet of a Sufi teacher to take down on paper what the master said. Because he was so fully occupied with his studies, he was unable to follow any gainful occupation. One evening, when he arrived home, his wife placed a bowl before him, covered with a napkin.
He took the cloth and put it around his neck, and then he saw that the dish was full of pens and paper. "Since this is what you do all day," she said, "just try to eat it." The next morning, the student went as usual to learn from his teacher. Although his wife's words had distressed him, he continued to follow the accustomed pattern of studies, desire, and did not go out looking for a job. After a minute's writing, he found that his pen was not working well. "Never mind," said the master. "Go into that corner and bring the box you will find there and put it in front of you." When he sat down with the box and opened its lid, he found that it was full of food. Did you get that story?
I think I did.
This man is a student who's hungry. And he goes to his master every day and sits and takes notes. And he's probably somebody, a broke nigga like me. And he comes home and the wife says, he sits down for dinner, and the wife sets him out pens and paper and says, "Well, since that's what you always do all day, you eat these pen and paper."
Yeah.
In other words, you don't deserve no food.
Right.
You ain't bringing no bacon home.
Mhm.
And he says, well, he's disturbed by this, but he stays on his path. Desire, passion, pain, patience. And he goes back to his master and he keeps on studying. His pen goes out. He goes looking for a pen and he finds a bowl of food. Now,
Okay.
in the Christian doctrine, Matthew,
Stay focused, stay with your goal, and you will succeed. Based on desire, passion, pain, and presence.
Matthew 6:33. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Luke 17:21. The kingdom is within you. It says it in the Bible. Seek you. Seek thine own knowledge of thyself. And all them other things that you need to survive in this world, they will be added to you when you are on your path. I've been trying to tell you for the longest.
You know, that's what all the motivational speakers, Oprah and them said, follow your passion and stay, I listened to that master class and all of them are saying basically the same thing. You stick with it. You find your passion. And there was a psychologist, well-renowned psychologist, Dr. Sol Gordon. He said, do whatever, he also, when the student is ready,
The teacher will appear.
the teacher will appear. So when you're ready to do the work, you better hands in. It'll come, I buy that. But we just don't have the patience. People don't want to do that. We don't want to do the work. We want the goal. We want the outcome. But we don't want to, everybody want to do the work.
Are you speaking for people or are you speaking for yourself?
Me?
Okay,
Certain-
let's
certain-
just speak
certain
in first
things-
person.
Okay, certain things I don't want to do, but I want the result. It's like the weight loss. We've gone through this before. And every now and then I come up, okay, bariatric surgery is the answer. Then I say, nah. But and because I have to stop myself, okay, that's not gonna work, and you know it. You've done your research, you've talked to people who had negative outcomes of this, so let's get off of that bandwagon. And I'm at the realization that I have to do the work. Now in treatments terms, I've accepted that I have a problem and I need to do, there's certain things I need to do, modify the eating and exercise, I need to move. I've got to do the work, there's no other way around it.
But let me say something. There's beautiful to be for us to be educated people, but there's also a downside. Western education compartmentalizes knowledge. Just like when you go in a bookstore, there are several books that apply, but they'll put something in oceanography, they'll put something in a section on geology, and it can be dealing with metaphysics. But everything's about, they got to keep everything compartmentalized.
That's the world.
So
Yeah.
when you look at your travails with your weight, sometimes you don't see it as directly correlating with all this stuff we talking about. We see the
Yeah, I
weight,
agree with that.
the
Yeah.
weight problem as this is, I need to exercise more and in control. The weight is an outgrowth of something that needs to be worked. Everything is everything.
Right. It's not surface level. We've had this about, you got to go in. Weight loss is knowing yourself, finding yourself.
Right.
That's I'd say 80% of it. You have to find out who you are. And that's a journey.
The weight, look at it this way. The weight loss, if you want to put it in those terms, or let's just say the maintenance of an ideal existence with your body type is and maintained in a healthy manner. Everything's always better when you start from the inside and work out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not starting with your soul on anything you're involved in, it's bound to fail, and it's just temporary.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a competitive, competitive bodybuilder. Doug knew me when that was all superficial. The true transformation that goes on is when you start from in here and go out.
True. I have no argument there. I think that's where we're missing the boat on a lot of these issues. But when you're talking about we're in a quick fix society, and so going inside the soul is not going, insurance is not going to pay for that, and then we're not going to see the quick results we're looking for.
Well,
But that is got to be the long-term goal. Otherwise, we're just on the surface level. And when you're talking about going within, and we've had this before, that's deep. That's deep. People don't have time. At least they say they don't have. We make time to do what we want to in life, but that's you're gonna have to make time for yourself. You got to do some soul searching,
Right.
And and some people can't do that alone. They hire people like you, and you come with a different approach. But I just see it with looking at the general society as a whole. We don't want to touch that.
No,
That's painful.
and
We
that's
don't
why it's
We don't want
not.
to go there.
It's one thing one resolve I've come to is that this is, it's just not for everyone's consumption.
Right.
I'm standing firm on my square. You can't operate above knowledge. My pineal gland, not much bigger than a grain of sand, but still contain the master plan. The Akashic records got a brother stepping in the right direction. My soul is ancient, so ain't no weapon. Born against me gon' prosper. Never normal, no bother. They're dealing with a true scholar, the Elohim God. Allah, the metal netter, Kabbalah, the metal worker. So holla, Ogun, Oshun, Dambala, 808. The Kundalini, Sophia, Sybil, the sigils face us and explain to us our ancient sciences, the status, the return of the Titans, the mutant X-Men, apocalypse upon us. Here comes the Nephilim, the nigga, the negro, negrito, the naga, primal got wisdom. Pull your coat to pop your collar, my naga, pop your collar, God body, pop your collar. Stand on your square, bow your back, stand on your square. Stand on your square, bow your back, and stand on your square. Yo, so if flexing my muscles and banging on suckers is how I gotta get your intention down now. Bring the ruckus, but when the smoke is cleared and all the fog is pierced, I need you gods and goddesses to lend your nearest ear. Cause if your eye be single, your gnosis overstands. You got your fingerprints and DNA in every land, every philosophy, every religion. It's just a fragment of the knowledge you were given from the supreme force. No need to change course. You own the path of freedom, choices on a winged horse or a winged disc. Black the venomous serpent in such serene bliss. My eyes done seen this, the promised land like Moses and Martin. Clenched fists, I'm starting to see the Red Sea parting. I ready to take my place on the throne. I'm home. Stand on your square. Bow your back. Stand on your square. Stand on your square. Bow your back. Standing firm on my square. Stolen Legacy by George G.M. James. Wonderful Ethiopians of the Kushite Empire by Drusilla Dungy Houston. The ISIS Papers by Francis Cress Welsing. Urugu by Marimba Ani. Icebox Inheritance by Michael Bradley. Who is This King of Glory by Alvin Boyd Kuhn. A Book of the Beginnings by Gerald Massey. The Serpent Grail by Philip Gardner and Gary Osborne. The Opening of the Way by Isha Swalla DeLubis. 16 Crucified Saviors by Kersey Graves. Signs and Symbols of Primordial Man by Albert Churchward. Astrological Foundation of the Christ Myth by Malik Jabbar. The Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. When God Was a Woman by Merlin Stone. The Great Cosmic Mother by Monica Sajou and Barbara Moore. Get your eat on. Stand on your square. Bow your back. Stand on your square. Stand on your square. Stand on your square. Bow your back and stand on your square.